Welcome, everybody, to We Geek Podcast. Today is February 6th, 2019, episode 162. My name is Adam, and as always, I'm joined by my good friend Logan.
Hello.
What up, man? How's your week been?
It's a week.
It's been a week.
It's been a week.
Oh, yeah. Work's been crazy.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you work at a pizza place on Super Bowl Sunday.
Oh, yeah, I imagine. Oh, man, can we talk about how boring of a game that was for just a moment? We can move on from it real fast, but at least they showed SpongeBob for a second.
No, that does not count.
Oh, sure it does.
No, it does not count.
Oh, man, SpongeBob going into sicko mode was the highlight of the Super Bowl for me.
And that was arguably the biggest disappointment out of anything. So
No, they didn't have to do that. They didn't have to do any of that, and I thought that was awesome. They did that for him.
No, I think the fact that the NFL talked about how we were going to see Sweet Victory, and then to just do like 3 seconds of it or whatever the hell crap they did.
Did they say they were
They
gonna
said
do
it. Oh yeah, no, they promoted it like the day of and the day before. Oh yeah, they made a big deal about it. Like it was all over Twitter, like NFL official Twitter. Meme. No, it started as like petitions and all that stuff, and then like a day or two before, the NFL was like, "We have heard you, and this is going to be part of the show."
Gotcha.
And so
I thought it started off as, of course, the creator of SpongeBob passed away this year.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a petition, not a meme, that's not the right word, but you know what I mean, something online. Just a bunch of people were like, "Hey, let's get this into the Super Bowl," like a far-fetched idea for how many millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Just to show a few seconds of it. I thought it was cool. I don't know. I don't let stuff like that upset me. I thought it was cool. They showed it for a second. And I love Sicko Mode. Man, that was him and Big Boy were the best part of that show. Maroon 5 puts me to sleep, but I love Travis Scott and Big Boy. They needed more Atlanta acts, I think, in that show. Than Maroon 5, but I get it. Women love Adam Levine.
Yeah, he's allowed to show both nipples during the Super Bowl. Right.
Yeah, exactly. So I get it. I get why they did that, and I can't imagine they would do the entire SpongeBob song
it's 30 seconds. It's not, if that. Like a 30-second clip to air, and how much ridiculously awesome press the NFL would get on a year when they clearly need it.
I hear what you're saying.
The good outweighs the
bad.
They
should have done that, but I thought it was cool they even showed SpongeBob to begin with. I thought that was a cool little thing. Maybe they'll do it next year. I don't know. I thought that was the biggest that got the biggest pop out of me for wrestling terms. I guess everyone's upset about it, but I thought it was cool
because they made a big deal like the day or two before that it was gonna happen, and then what we got was that brief clip for nothing. Not to mention the fact that it was a crap game to begin with, so nobody
I'm picking my battles because I don't care about that. But yes, the game, man, that was terrible.
It was. I was glad I had to work my theater job at night, so I had an excuse to not watch it.
Oh yeah, no, I left where I was at halfway through the game. I was like, this is not going anywhere. No, and it wasn't halfway. It was like third quarter. I was like, this is lame.
Both teams trying really hard not to get that all-you-can-eat McDonald's buffet at the White House.
Right, exactly. The memes that came out of the Super Bowl were the best part of the Super Bowl.
I'll give you that. Yes, the memes and the memes of 21 Savage that weren't about him being deported, which is some garbage. But the other 21 Savage memes were awesome.
Yeah, man, poor 21 Savage. Free 21 Savage. It's crazy. He's like in lockup. Like can't do anything. Can't.
Now that's ice for you.
Yeah, that's crazy. I'm interested in hearing. Hopefully, obviously, he is the epitome of of a success story for an immigrant.
Right. And I mean, yes, I get it. He overstayed his visa. Technically, he did break the law. But how about somebody kicks down the door and provides him with the paperwork to renew it and say
exactly.
This is part of the problem where it's like, no, our first instinct is to throw everybody in jail, and it's
and it's crazy because how many shows is he selling out? How much money is he putting in people's pockets? Like
how is this just now a thing? Like, because apparently he's overstayed his visa by a while, but it's not like the second his visa expired he disappeared and went underground and nobody could find him. I mean, this, he's done shows. He has had to fill out paperwork, if nothing else. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just bizarre timing.
Oh yeah.
Like, just why now?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm curious to see what happens. I know I saw his dad was like a celebrity judge, or I'm sorry, a celebrity doctor.
Okay.
And apparently he's not exactly from the UK. He's more from the islands. That one of the islands that the UK used to rule. I don't know, or I didn't get the full story, and I didn't really pay that much attention when I was hearing it. It was really super late at night, but there's more to the story. It's not as big of a oh, he's from the UK. He came here and he was like 16. They were making it seem like he was a complete fraud. It's like, no, he really did run the streets in Atlanta. Like all that stuff that he talks about is probably mostly true. But the stuff with his dad and coming over from England, I don't know if it was England. I believe it was from the islands. But it's just under the rule of Great Britain or whatever the used to be. So he's technically British citizen. I don't know. I don't know how those laws work. But I'm curious to see what comes of that because he's a celebrity that's actually filling pockets with money in the United States and he is what you should want to be as an immigrant, as a success story. But anyway, yeah, where were we? How did we get into 21 Savage?
Football.
That's right. Terrible game. What a terrible end to that season, huh?
Yeah, I'm just so tired of Tom Brady, and I've been saying that for years. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from the Patriots. They always put together a hell of a team, even when they don't cheat.
Oh, I am. I'm gonna no. We'll find out next year what happened.
Okay.
We'll find out they were filling something with ooze or I don't know.
I mean,
whatever malarkey. It's always some weird thing. It's like, well, they were watching from the stands, or they were deflating the football, and Tom Brady had to destroy his cell phone, and it's. We'll find out next year they were doing something with their iPhones. Who knows? We'll figure something out. They were using AR technology or something. But I am gonna take it away from them because that's fucking garbage, dude. Anyway, Tom Brady is really good though.
I just choose to pick my battles. I guess I'm not really that upset about it.
Yeah. You upset about SpongeBob.
I know, but because I didn't care about the game. I did not care about either team. At that point, I was just like, can both teams lose? I didn't care at all.
I wish the Saints would have been in there. I think they would have put it on a better show.
They absolutely would have, because they would have scored points.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah. When your score is less than the band, mm-hmm. That's set. I mean, it was Patriots 13, Maroon 5, Rams 3. Mm-hmm. That's sad.
Right. Someone put a bet in Vegas, $250, that the Rams would only score 3 points, and they win $100,000. Imagine putting that bet in.
Hey, I mean, why not? What else is everybody gonna bet on? The Rams win, the Patriots win. What's the spread? No, pick a weird bet.
Yep. Rams only gonna pick 3 points. Okay, that's it. That's the only stipulation.
Yeah.
Oh man, I bet he was freaking out.
I'm sure. I'm absolutely sure.
Oh man, I can't imagine. But so football's over. So for me, pretty much sports is over. And I didn't really pay attention too much that year. My Packers were not doing too good. I watched their games, pay attention when I could. But other than that, I wasn't as invested into football as I normally am. It's a bit of an off season for us, but they'll be fine. But yeah, man, I've been I went and saw Bumblebee.
About time.
Yes. Yeah, it was a fun movie.
Yeah.
John Cena was great in it.
He is very John Cena. He's perfect. He's perfect in that particular kind of role. It's just don't run. They ran.
Right.
Well,
their names are Decepticons. Does that bother anybody?
That should have been a red flag right there.
Yeah. It was great. I loved him in it. It was a very you could tell they were going for the 80s theme.
Yeah.
And yeah, the neighbor was really cool. I liked that he was just such a nerd. Yeah, I don't know. I really liked it. I thought it was great. They need to do more like that. I like the stuff at the beginning. It's not really spoilery because I think they showed in the trailer the Cybertron stuff at the beginning was really cool.
Yeah.
I want more of this. Now, the way this ends, this is in the 80s, and the Transformers movies take place in the 2000s. So there's a whole gap between the 80s and 90s of stories they could technically tell, correct?
In theory, sure.
In theory. Now, the world didn't know about Transformers until the newer movies, right?
Right. This was, long after they invented the internet.
So this is going to be hard for them to tell stories where big robots are running around, but they were able to do this one.
They did because it was isolated. Like, they didn't go through, like in all the other Transformers movies where they tore up half of a giant city.
Right. So that's what I want to see from this one. Maybe they go off planet, they do something, who knows? Or it's just another smaller story and they run into a kid and no one believes him. That kind of deal. Like that. If they can pull this off. They could tell a whole, series of movies in this time frame, or they can jump forward. I just want that style of movie again.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I really liked it. I thought it was good. It was fun and was exactly the kind of Transform movie I wanted to see. But yeah, I thought it was great. So I went and saw that. So I'm seeing movies again. I'm excited.
There you go.
I don't know what to see next. Maybe Glass.
Yeah, I'd go see Glass. Or The Upside. I hear The Upside's actually really funny.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe that. I'm trying to think of what else is out.
Well, we got we got a fairly big week ahead of us. So.
Oh yeah. I might just go see Spider-Verse again until that leaves the theater.
I mean, you can't go wrong. You can't. Yeah. Like, it's so good.
Oh yeah. What do we? So let's go over real fast this week. What did we get?
What do you mean, movie-wise or like box office-wise? What are we talking?
Box office. What were the top ones?
This is the week where if you have a movie that you absolutely want to just die, Super Bowl weekend is the weekend you release it.
Okay.
For example, Glass 9.5 million for the weekend.
Oh wow.
The Upside 8.6, Miss Bala 6.8, Aquaman 4.8, Spider-Man 4.5. That's a regular Saturday. And that was the whole weekend this past weekend.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how bad that Super Bowl weekend is not a movie weekend, obviously.
Right.
Yeah, we
even though it had the worst numbers in like a decade, right?
Yeah. No, people were still watching the Super Bowl and nobody wanted to go to the movies. Like, it's just a nothing weekend.
Mm-hmm.
But, whatever.
Yeah.
Only thing that the only thing that came out this past week was Miss Bala. So I mean,
cool. What new releases are coming out next week?
Next week we have The Prodigy, which is we're gonna try to release this horror movie early and maybe catch a weird segment of crowd, which is not gonna happen. It's not gonna make money. We have Cold Pursuit, which is my favorite movie of the year so far, just because when people ask me what it is, I get to say the phrase "taken on ice," because that's exactly what it is.
Oh yeah.
And I love saying that because the people who get the joke, and everybody else is just like, well, that sounds silly.
Did you hear the news, or did you hear what Liam Nielsen said?
Yeah, he's racist too. It figures.
Yeah.
It's a whole mess. Allegedly and all that stuff, I don't want to get sued. But because
there's a lot to unpack with that. I'll say this, at least he admits what a fucking terrible idea that would have been.
Yeah.
And how disgusted he was about feeling that way.
In fairness, yes, what he said was a horrible thing, and he has some atoning to do for that. And
Yeah.
he's willing to do that. He didn't come out and try to do some half-assed dance apology. He came out and basically just owned it and said, yes, this was awful, and I feel terrible, as I should.
If anything, it definitely made him, he's human, obviously capable of making having terrible thoughts and terrible irrational ideas, and thank God he didn't act on them and didn't do anything that he would obviously regret.
Yeah.
And this is maybe something he should have told a therapist and not a reporter.
Yeah, maybe. You think?
And if there's any silver lining, it started a conversation, and hopefully, maybe somebody hears that and thinks, I've been there, and that's not something I should do, if that makes sense.
Exactly.
I've never been in those shoes, but I'm thinking if there's got to be other people out there that have had that mindset, and if they look up to him at all and they say, man, that guy realized what an idiot that decision that would have been, and if someone doesn't do that, then maybe it is worth it he said it. But yeah, I'm sure he'll say more eventually about it. But man, that was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really changes all those movies that he's in. It like, wow, like I don't know if he's going to be doing those kind of movies anymore. With that out there, who knows? I don't know. It's Hollywood, so
it's hard to tell.
Yeah. I mean, Chris Brown is still making music, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, but yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to sidetrack too much.
It's a conversation that definitely merits having, for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And also this week we have the Mel Gibson remake that nobody was asking for, I don't think.
Speaking of...
Yeah, right, no kidding. Like, mixing all of these things together, what men want, which is...
I saw the trailer for this.
I'll tell you what, look, this is definitely not something I'm interested in. It's just not, because I didn't like What Women Want. But, that was because it was 20... How long ago was that movie?
Yeah, we also weren't in our late 40s.
Exactly. Like, I don't know. And I mean, look, I'll give you this. It's Taraji P. Henson and Tracy Morgan. But I'll tell you what, I've seen the poster for this, and Tracy is just staring straight ahead. Like, he's staring at you, who's looking at the poster, and it's creepy as hell. Like...
Yeah, so that's Tracy Morgan.
I know, it's just so weird. I'm like, he could have had any other facial expression, but he picked the single creepiest one, which, right. Yeah, in a way is perfect. But, yeah. There'll be a crowd, and I hope it's good. I hope people come out of it and just go, man, that was so damn funny. Because that was kind of what happened. That happened to an extent with The Upside. Like, I saw the trailer, and I was like, this kind of looks good. And then people came out and said, this was good. I was like, well, okay, I'll see that eventually. This one, I have not seen a trailer for this. I know there've been some, but...
Oh, I've seen the trailer for it. They tell you the whole movie in the trailer.
Well, of course they do,
Yeah, they play through the whole thing.
I'm sure, like they did with A Dog's Way Home.
Yep.
So there's that. None of these three are really going to matter, though, because the Lego Movie 2 comes out this week.
Yes.
And obviously there's your winner.
Yeah, I didn't... Okay, so I finally watched the trailer for real this time. I guess I've never seen this trailer before.
Okay.
I didn't know that there was a character in the movie that's basically just Chris Pratt's as an actor and all of his roles.
Yeah, that's what's great. The trailer basically showcases like Chris Pratt acting alongside Chris Pratt.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. I guess I didn't see that in the trailers before, but I was like, that's funny.
Yeah, the other dude is basically just him...
all his roles
as all of the things he's done, and I'm just
that's how you do it. That meta, that because the kids they get it, but the adults are like, that's funny. That ironic meta stuff. So yeah, man, that looks funny as hell.
I don't like the song though.
I don't remember. What song.
They've released what's it called? Catchy Song. Where they've just really tried to lean into, like, if you thought Everything Was Awesome was an earworm, listen to this. We've called it Catchy Song because it's catchy. Gotcha. Get it? And it's just, I don't dig it.
Is it just the Baby Shark song, but with Catchy Song?
Man, I wish they had been that creative.
It's a TV show now.
Yeah, it's gonna be on there. Isn't it gonna be on Netflix? I think.
I think so. Yeah.
Hey, like
That's a banger. I would be shocked. I would bet money that that's going to be mixed in some EDM song at EDC this year.
Oh God, I'll bet. I guarantee you. You Google Baby Shark remix. Like there's gonna be 12 billion of them out there already.
Right, exactly.
There probably were like a day after it came out.
There's a Skrillex version.
Yeah. Listen to as soon as they heard it, they were like, "Yeah, it's gonna be a thing."
Yep.
And just off they went with it.
Yep. Oh yeah. I remember my friend did it, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And she starts doing this baby shit. I'm like, "What? Am I on drugs? Why are you singing a Baby Shark song with your hands and stuff?" She's like, "You haven't seen it?" I was like, "No idea what you're talking about." I was like, "I do not have children, so I never saw this." But when I saw it, I was like, "That's catchy as fuck." I get why this is popular with kids. But yeah. Where were we? Sorry.
What were we doing?
Yeah. So anyway, Prodigy's coming out. The band, right? No, just kidding. The movie.
Are you a Creed fan? You look like a Creed fan.
I did. Oh, never mind. I'm not gonna go there.
I'm sorry. That was one of the best lines the other night. That was great.
Oh yeah.
Where are EC1 and EC2?
Oh yeah. See, I didn't see Raw. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Okay. So, on A Moment of Bliss, they had
you had my attention.
Yes, they had Alexa interviewing EC3 in all of his "I'm just wearing my Speedo" glory, and Alexa being about as thirsty as she could possibly be. At which point, Naya came out to interrupt, as she does. And she was going on about something, so Dean came out to interrupt her. Because of what happened a couple weeks ago. So then Dean took over the interview and started asking EC3 questions.
Okay.
Among which were, what does EC3 actually mean? And he'd hold the microphone out, and EC3 would lean in, and he'd pull it back to ask something else. One of the questions being, where are EC1 and EC2?
Oh, that's funny.
And then he said, who does your hair? Nothing. Are you a Creed fan? You look like a Creed fan. It's just like, God damn, Dean. Oh, we're going to miss you when you go.
Yeah. He's not going anywhere.
He is. He's going.
It's all work.
Yeah.
They even said people behind stage were like, we don't know we don't think that's true. He's not going anywhere.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know, given the stuff that he's been doing lately.
They wouldn't be putting him on TV like this. He wouldn't get the end of the show last week.
Yeah, but then he got in the ring and EC3 slapped him around and beat him with a roll up. Like,
who was just released this month? Name someone.
I can't think anybody.
So someone was just released. I think it was a Japanese.
Oh, Itami, right? Hideo Itami. Yeah.
All right. What was his last match?
Something on 205 Live, I think.
Okay. But it wasn't on the main shows or anything, right?
No, but he was just in the Fatal 4-Way for the Cruiserweight title at the Rumble.
I guess.
Where they had been building him up for like the last, I don't know, couple of months. Like
I'm just trying to think of the last person where when it was real that they were saying they were released in April, months away from now. I just can't think of anything.
He could be real surprised when he turns up somewhere else.
No, he's gonna be back. He'll be back that Monday. You're like, you thought I was gone. Everyone's gonna go, no, we didn't, but we're glad you're back. I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Well, where were we? Okay, sorry. So, did you see the TV spot for the Avengers Endgame?
I did. It wasn't much, which was fine. It was a little 30-second spot.
There was a lot of editing in it.
Yeah, it was a lot of quick cuts.
Well, I mean, like, I think they clearly edited people out of the trailer.
That's been going around where it's like, no, the way this shot is framed definitely looks like there's supposed to be at least one other or two other people in some spots. And
I'm thinking it's Carol. I think it's either Carol during some of the scenes or it's Tony. They don't want to show Tony on Earth because they want that to be like,
agreed.
hey, he's still in space.
Yeah, agreed.
Or Carol, where like, hey, she got there, and they don't want to show where she fits into the film yet.
Yeah.
That's my theory. I like that they showed Rocket finding Jacob's cabin on the island.
Yeah, true.
That was pretty cool. Did you see his outfit?
I did not, I don't think.
It is his classic Rocket Raccoon outfit.
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah, which was neat. Trying to think of some other things they showed in the trailer. They showed Nebula and Tony working. I don't know. That was really it, right? And then it was just like Captain America, like getting ready and like being in like, he looked like he was in like a support group, I guess, for people who were missing people.
That's the thing that struck me it's been so long now. Like, that's what that showed to me, was that there has clearly been time.
Yes, like, and I think it was, the people move on, but we don't.
Right. That was, yeah, and that, like, seeing that set up as like a support group meeting, banner and everything, not Bruce Banner, but the advertising banner.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, so that cemented for me, like, no, there has been time passed. This isn't like a couple months later. Like, this is down the road a little bit.
See, I was thinking like a year, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I would say at least.
It's like real time.
Yeah.
Because they've been trying to keep it up to date with the current time and how much time has passed between them. And I liked how they showed like the world, just what it looks like with where half the people are gone. I mean, if you think about it, and this isn't a thread you really want to unpull because then it just gets crazy. If half the people did disappear, planes would crash, boats would sink, nuclear sites would, I don't know. Like, if half the people were gone at the very same moment.
What exactly all does that entail?
That would be a disaster. And that's the other thing, is like, is it just animal life or is it plant life?
Oh no, it's all, what is it?
So plants.
I think it was all sentient life.
Sentient life.
They did clarify that, like, because like it include. I think it's all life. I think that it's not just because they talked about like, no, it's all like, it was all because somebody asked about like pets. Right. And they clarified, like, no, when we say all life, we mean all life.
So that means plant life.
I would.
Means half our forests would be gone.
Well, but here's the thing about
Groot did go.
Yeah, but Groot was also like
he was
sentient. And right. I think maybe that's the dividing line, because Thanos' whole purpose of doing that was to conserve resources. So it wouldn't make sense for him to cut the population by half and the resources by half. That doesn't make any sense.
No, I agree, but I thought, well, plants are living. Like they have a purpose. They eat. They get energy. I don't know. Their life.
That's one of those questions. I guess we'll find out. It doesn't look like that counted.
Right. Yeah, exactly, because then that would be just you would have done more damage.
Yeah.
Well, he's not very rational, so.
I disagree. I think he's completely rational. I think he's nuts, but I think let me say this: it is a rational, logical train of thought. It's insane, but it is a logical train of thought.
Right, and I like that in the trailers, I didn't see anybody except for our heroes. So it's like it's a very quiet world. It's a very empty world. Even with half the population, it's incredibly empty, and it's kind of spooky. I can't wait for this. I saw something today that said like if Game of Thrones series finale came out on the same day Avengers Endgame came out, what would you see first? And the other one you couldn't see for another 6 months. I would totally go see the Avengers movie.
Oh, Avengers in a heartbeat, yeah.
Yeah. And I was trying to think of like anything else that I would compare to, and like maybe episode 8, I would still want to see Avengers first. That's crazy because I love Star Wars.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think I'll tell you what, if between episode 8 and Endgame, I go Endgame. Between episode 8 and Infinity War, I go 8.
Yes, exactly. Because this is the end of This is but we're like, I know that, man, I'm excited about what happens next. And I'm excited about what happens next with Star Wars, but I don't think we're going to get a hint of that at the end of 8.
No,
I think 8's going to be more of a closing of a book, and then
had,
later, like a year later, we find out what they're doing.
Okay, so you're actually talking about 9.
9, I'm so sorry. Yeah. I apologize.
That was the question I was going to ask, was like, now if it was 9 or Endgame.
That's what I mean.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
I think I'd rather see Endgame, because with 9, it is going to be the end of the chapter, and I don't think we're going to give any hints of what they're going to be working on next until they announce it.
True.
But Endgame, I want to see what happens next. I'm like, because of Infinity War, I am pumped for that movie.
Well, and I'll say this too: you'd have to take everything else this year into account. If you can't, if you decide you want to see Star Wars, but you can't see Endgame for 6 months, then you also have to avoid Far From Home.
Right.
So you kind of screw yourself out of 2 movies there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that's something to think about. Yeah, I'd probably go Endgame too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But yeah, so that was a cool little TV spot. That was one of the good things from the Super Bowl. I don't really remember seeing anything else. The Captain Marvel trailer, did you see that?
Yeah, the extra little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm kind of, because it's in a month, I'm pretty much just like, I'm at that point where I'm like, all right, I'm not worried about anything else about this, because I'm hyped. It's coming out. Let's just get to that.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. So that was cool. Did you know that Keanu Reeves turned down the role of in Captain Marvel as, like, the original Captain Marvel?
Oh, as Marvel, really?
Or Marvel, yeah.
Whoa.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. He turned it down for I was gonna say Taken 3.
For John Wick 3?
John Wick 3.
Fair play to him. Like, I mean, he's got a franchise that clearly works. So.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I don't want him to be Marvel, who's probably gonna not be in any of the other movies. I would rather him, if he's gonna be in the MCU, I'd rather be a bigger character.
Yeah.
We got a whole bunch of X-Men coming up, so he can fit in there somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for Tom. I want to know who Tom Cruise is gonna play. He's eventually gonna do it.
God, no.
Oh, he's gonna be in it. I don't know who he's gonna be. Banshee?
No.
I don't even know.
No.
I don't know who he'd be. Wolfsbane? Who could he be? Who could Tom Cruise be?
He could be Omega Red and freak everybody out.
There you go. There you go. We talked about him being Wolverine, but Kevin Smith really wanted him to play Wolverine.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he wasn't like Tony Stark or something.
I'm sure there was interest.
Yeah, and he's short enough to be. He could have been a great. Who am I thinking of? Why did my mind just go blank here?
I don't know.
The Winter Soldier.
Bucky?
I was gonna call him the Silver Soldier.
The Silver Soldier.
He would have been a great Bucky.
No, because he would be co-starring, and he can't do that.
Do you think he'd go to DC and do? I could see him as Hal Jordan. Totally as Hal Jordan.
I would not be averse to that, to be honest with you. I think he might be able to do that.
Oh yeah, I could totally see that. They're still working on that Lanterns movie, and apparently it's still tied into the same universe, the DCU.
After Aquaman was so successful off on its own, and Shazam coming up going to be off on its own, I think they're gonna be farther away from the idea of having an interconnected universe. Like, they may drop hints to things here and there, but that's not going to be the goal. They're just gonna make the movies, and then at some point down the road they'll say, hey, you know what? I think it's time we try this again.
Exactly. Whatever actor they get as Batman will probably in whatever the next Justice League is, and whoever plays Superman, that's probably they'll just probably replace the actor like they did with the old Batman movies.
Yeah.
And go from there and pretend like they just didn't. All they have to do in Flash is just make something weird happen, and suddenly he looks a little bit different, and make a slide little joke like, "Hey, you look different."
Yeah.
That's it. That's all they have to do. They don't have to like. Hey, you guys remember the last time we got together? Wasn't that weird? All right. Well, anyway, let's off on an adventure. Let's go take out Darkseid, who they should have done in the beginning. Did you hear Kevin Smith talk about this, by the way?
I saw that he talked about it, but I'm just not interested in what Snyder's vision was.
I agree.
I'm
I
not.
didn't. It was interesting just to hear like what the plan was and how they changed it.
Yeah.
Darkseid was supposed to be at the end of the movie, and they removed him. Just other little things. It should have been Darkseid to begin with. It shouldn't have been Steppenwolf.
Well, you can't just drop Darkseid in like that. It's why they didn't just drop Thanos in. It's
right.
He's too big to just say, "Oh, and by the way, here he is." Like,
so. Right. So, I don't know. It was interesting. I mean, apparently there were supposed to be Green Lanterns in the movie. The second movie was supposed to be kind of like Infinity War, where they go actually to Apocalypse. They decide to go to him, and then he kills them all, or like destroys them all, and comes to Earth, and they lose. So like that movie was going to be about them losing, and then the third movie was going to be like the last stand on Earth, where they somehow come back and other heroes come in and help out. And then at the end, it would be a bigger team. So I don't know. I was like, well, that would have been cool, but it's too little, too late.
It also would have taken them 36 hours to shoot those 3 movies with all the slow motion fight scenes they'd have had. So
right. Did you see? Was it Bob Iger?
Yes, I think.
Did you hear what he said about Deadpool?
Yeah, he said, "Don't worry, we're still going to." What he said? Something like there is still a place in the market for R-rated properties like Deadpool.
Yeah, he's like, we understand that people. He said, Deadpool clearly has been and will be Marvel's branded. We think there might be an opportunity for a Marvel R brand or something like Deadpool, as long as we let the audience know what's coming. We think we can manage that fine, and that's smart. That's how you do it. You evolve with time. Disney will always still be a very kid-friendly company, and as long as they're honest about the rating and they're upfront with it, that's fine. I mean, don't take your child to go see it. Now, they're smart if they continue with this. Hey, we'll re-release it in December as an edited version for kids to see. That's pretty smart. That's how you do it. But to still keep it R-rated for the fans, that's genius. Why mess with a good thing?
Well, I mean, there was, for everybody that freaked out about it, I mean, all I ever had to say to those fans was, Disney wants to make money. Deadpool made a crap load of money. Therefore, Disney is not going to kill the golden goose.
Right.
Like, that was never anything I ever thought was going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Well, but they don't do R-rated. Shut up. Like, just, right. Disney used to have an R-rated studio.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody remembers it because the movies were pretty much crap. But this is not something they have never done before. You're just not going to go to see, X-Force and it's going to say Disney up front. Like,
exactly.
That's what's going to happen. You're going to forget that it's Disney. Like,
it'll just say Marvel at the beginning of it, and then it'll say probably when they purchase the 20th Century Fox, which is whatever, that will probably be in front of it, whatever that studio's name is.
Exactly. I think it'll still be, 20th or 21st Century Fox.
Right.
And that's fine. Let that be the brand for it. That's why you bought Fox. So let that be that. It's still, it's under the Fox logo. I mean, yeah, it's Disney, but it's really still Fox. And let people be happy about that.
Oh, yeah. Now, I didn't like what they said about the Star Wars stuff, though, with Electronic Arts.
Oh, yeah, how they said they're not going to do games in-house. They're going to keep licensing and all that.
Yes, and it's like, you're halfway there? Like, yes, you should not do games in-house, but, you should have pulled it away from EA.
Yeah, because they've done so much with it.
It's so bad.
But didn't somebody from EA say that, like, Fallen Order was either going to be revealed this year or even come out this year? Did I see that kind of insanity?
It's supposed to be released this year, but I don't see that happening.
We have a title. That's literally all we have. It's not going to happen.
To be fair.
It wouldn't be EA if they didn't put out a game that wasn't completely finished.
But no, I have to take a side here. Respawn just dropped a game they just announced, and it's good. Apex Legends.
Okay, cool.
So,
How long have they been working on it?
I mean, how long have they been working on the Star Wars game? They've been working on the Star Wars for 2 or 3 years now.
As far as we know, but they've also been
Right,
working on this, so how divided has their time been?
right.
Plus, they're still
So,
working on Titanfall 2 content because they're not working on Titanfall 3.
no, no, no. The Apex Legends they started doing when after when Titanfall 2 was released. They were working. Apparently, they came to the table. I listened to an interview with Giant Bomb, and they basically said that once we released Titanfall 2, we had to, or before the release, we had to. They were thinking about what we were going to do next. They had a good relationship with the guy who did PUBG. Um, they started to do a Titanfall 3 type game, but they realized the market wants PUBG style games, battle royale games. They saw, and then of course, while they were in development, they saw Fortnite as we all did rise and become this juggernaut. Obviously, that's why they decided to shift away from Titanfall 3, and instead of having Titans in the game, which I'll get to in just a second, because apparently they're going to add some of them, they decided to go to a battle royale style game, remove the Titans because it doesn't make sense in a battle royale, have more of a hero class base like Overwatch, and that's why the game's so polished because they were working on it as it was going to be a regular game, and then because of the engine and everything else that's on, they were able to create this battle royale game, and the Titans and stuff like that, they decided to remove, so they didn't want to call it Titanfall or anything like that. They just announced today, actually, that there are going to be Titans in the game, but it's going to be more for like special occasions. So you know how like they added Thanos in Fortnite
Right.
as this special guy that one person can get and he's like unstoppable. I imagine that's what they'll do with Titanfall. So it will be like kind of like a different, when you go to sign up for the game and you go to play, it won't be the regular battle. It'll be like, hey, here's this special event happening this weekend where like maybe 3 people in the match get a Titan and everyone tries to take them out or something like that. Just a fun side type of game, but it's not the core game. Respawn they're great. They're great, and
I have
a,
I agree, but EA is not.
EA is not. But so far, EA, I don't feel like EA, and maybe, and I was listening to Jim Sterling as well. Very much not EA in this game. There are some loot boxes, of course, because it's a free game and it's a hero style loot thingy. But all of the things are just how it is in Overwatch. It's all skins, and that's how you do loot boxes. I'm not as crazy about being upset with loot boxes as someone like Jim Sterling, of course. As long as it's cosmetic, I don't care.
Right, I've always been the same way. Like, you want to have
Right.
a different suit or you want to have different colored equipment or whatever. You won't pay for that? Knock yourself out. I don't care.
Exactly. Now, if they release Battlefront 2 if they originally were like, hey, it's going to be a free game, and all the stuff, the cosmetics in it are going to be cost money, but it's not going to cost you a cent to level up or any of that other stuff. You can buy characters. Like if you wanted to buy a character re-release, because that's kind of how this game works. There's 6 characters, and then 2 of them you can purchase if you want to. So you can still play the game, and the other 2 characters aren't any better. They're just different. They're apples and oranges because it's a hero shooter.
Okay.
That's how you do it. You don't spend a penny on the game if you don't want to. If you want to buy these other heroes, you totally can. That's how Dota does it. That's how all these other games do it. League of Legends, that's how they do it. That's how you do it. And then you rotate it. So like let's say a year or 2 down the line, there's 12 extra characters. Maybe once a month you give one of those characters for free and you just rotate it so that the person who's not wanting to pay anything can try them and then decide if they want to spend $5 to buy that hero character. That's how you do it. That's a more responsible way of doing it. The loot boxes are just gambling essentially, and if as long as it's cosmetics, I don't care.
Yeah.
So that's how you do it, and I think that's smart. And everything about the way the game was released and the feel of the game, it doesn't feel rushed. It feels really good. The shooting in it is amazing, and these are Infinity War, not Infinity War, Jesus, Infinity Ward devs that created Respawn. So it feels just like Titanfall, the shooting, and it's so good. It feels amazing. This is how you do it. So that's why I think that I have a little bit more faith in this Jedi game. I don't know if it'll be released this year because we haven't seen or heard a thing about it.
Yeah.
And I do have a feeling EA is, of course, going to have way more hands into it. I don't think Disney is not to blame either, too, because I imagine that they are being very strict on what EA is allowed to do.
Yeah, look how well that's worked out so far.
I agree. I think that, a lot of blame is to go to EA, of course, but I think there is some blame, or there could be some blame to Disney with, EA did say, hey, we wanted to add a lot of fun stuff to the Battlefront games. We were not allowed to. They were basically told Darth Vader's going to look like this, nothing else. He can't be pink, he can't be this, he can't be that, he can't be fun. You can't have cool skins that you can add in there. It is from the movie. That is it. So there was where before when it was LucasArts, when you give it all out to devs to play with, they had a lot more space to create.
Yeah, so, but Darth Vader not being pink didn't make the game suck.
I agree, but I think there is still some blame to be put there.
I think the biggest blame on Disney is that when the debacle around Battlefront 2 happened, they didn't yank the license from EA.
I agree. That's what I mean. Something we don't know something. We don't know a lot with what's going on with this, but I 100% agree. I can't imagine they have such a ironclad, case here with them not being able to pull it. They must have. I don't know. I can't imagine Disney has enough money to go, you know what, we're pulling it. There must have been something ridiculous in there to make it where they could not, or they didn't have faith in other. I don't know. I really don't know. I hope that they're just waiting it out, for however many more years, to 20 whatever, to have other people work on it. But, and I'm not trying to give EA any credit here. I want to make that very clear. I think there's good people at Respawn, and I think they do a lot of good work. And especially playing some of this Apex Legends, and I've played the Titanfall games. I really enjoy them. I think we could get a good Star Wars game. I hope we don't hear this year it's delayed and then next year it's canceled.
Here's my thing. The whole thing with Apex was that Respawn made this in spite of EA. I'm doing just brief cursory searches over this. Show hang on, where is the quote? I'll find it here. There was somebody from Respawn where was it? Give me like 1 second here.
Yeah.
Drew McCoy from Respawn said that EA was very skeptical about the idea of having Apex be a free-to-play battle royale game, like PUBG, like Fortnite. Right. They were not down for that, and Respawn said, "No, this will work. We're going to do it," and so they did it. But I don't think. And here's the thing: I think they were allowed to get away with that because EA, I think, either had more control over Star Wars as a trade-off, maybe, or because they already had such an iron grip on what Respawn was doing with Star Wars. They were like, you know what, this is your little pet project, you do whatever, but when you come to this, you do whatever we tell you to do.
Yeah, because that's the thing. They're they what's the saying? Cut your nose off to spite your face or whatever. They have Battlefield 5 mode or whatnot for this, where you have to buy the Battlefield game in order to play their Battle Royale mode. This just came out for free. Why would anyone buy that game now?
Yeah.
You put this out a few weeks before. What's the oh, my mind just went blank. Anthem, that's coming out, which is more like a Destiny game.
Yeah.
But if you get someone hooked into this right now, why would they buy Anthem? Especially the reactions from this compared to the demos of Anthem.
Yeah, very night and day. Yes, exactly.
Very night and day. People are having a blast with this game, and I had a bunch of fun with it. I only played a few rounds, but it was pretty fun. I love these kind of modes. This is what's in right now. Destiny's kind of in the past. Style games. There's huge, massive games, don't get me wrong, and I don't want to the people that love those kind of games, I'm with you. I feel you. I was up those late nights just like you, I went through it for whatever reason. Now PUBG is, maybe it's just I'm a little bit older. I have way more that I have to do, and I can't dedicate hours and hours and hours like I used to be able to. And I could pop in for a few games of these battle royale style games, and then back out, and I'm back. I'm doing whatever else I need to do. Where Destiny, it's like you got to do a raid. Well, that's going to take 8 hours. Okay, you got to level up all of this stuff, and you have to redo all of this content for hours just to find some weird thing that you got to do for a quest to go to the next level. It's it's exhausting, and I can't. I'm. It is. EA is so big that they're eating themselves with this, and this is the same thing happened to Titanfall 2 and Titanfall 1. They put them out at the exact same times that Call of Duty and Battlefield were coming out.
Well, and I mean, the thing is, EA, like, Respawn was their own thing still back then. Like, Titanfall and Titanfall 2, they were still an independent studio. EA was just a publisher.
True, exactly.
And then, when the numbers weren't great, and Respawn's value went down, EA came in and said, well, we might as well just buy you guys.
Right. No, I agree. And we'll see. I have a lot more faith in Respawn than I will ever have with EA. So I agree with you, man. I'm not as skeptical, I guess, when it comes to Respawn and what they can do with this Jedi game. I have a terrible feeling it's going to be delayed and then canceled or turned into some, because that's the kind of game that I do want longer. That's the kind of game I do want to be like more of an RPG or something like that. But who knows? It might be a freaking battle royale game, because those are the games that are making money right now. I mean, Overwatch has made them a ton of money at Blizzard. Fortnite, God, Epic, the kind of the size Epic is right now.
Yeah.
Is unimaginable. It's the fact that they're not, they were going to be doing, it was announced recently, they stopped working on their Unreal game, the game that started everything for it's running on the Unreal Engine.
Yeah.
And they stopped that series because of Fortnite, because there's been nothing like Fortnite ever. And that style game everyone is jumping on. So to me, it makes sense. Respawn's doing this. It makes total sense. I was not, Titanfall, it was never, and then it was never connected to that franchise so it didn't really hit me hard when no more Titanfall games. It sucks, but man, it's not. That was never a franchise that I really cared about. So, but Star Wars, man, I'm getting into that. I don't know. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I mean, the Titanfall games were good. They were fun. Like, they weren't holy crap, changed the world amazing, but they were good games.
No, exactly. And unfortunately, that style game was made for people like me that are kind of a dying breed, because the money is where the kids are at, and the kids are not playing those kind of games. They are playing what they're evolving right now. They went to this other style game. You know what I mean? That they had to get with the times in order to survive. And I get it. I totally do, and it's fun. That's the thing. I don't know how long I'll play it. I hope this isn't just a flash in the pan, but I hope this makes them enough money to be like, hey, we're doing great. Now we're gonna make a Star Wars game. I don't know. We'll see.
And this is interesting. I dug this up. Apparently, Respawn is 2 teams. I didn't know this. The Titanfall team made Apex Legends. Mm-hmm. The second team was specifically hired for Star Wars.
Right.
I didn't know that. I didn't know there was there were 2 whole different teams in that studio.
Yeah, man. I hope at E3 we get a trailer and an official release date. I can't imagine it will be this year. I hope it is. They need something. I imagine. Hopefully, Disney is forcing them to come out this year. But then again, you don't want a game to be rushed.
Yeah, here we go. EA CEO Andrew Wilson says, it's very far along in development, and having spent time with it recently myself, it plays spectacularly well. Mm-hmm. We will have a lot more to share coming soon. Mm-hmm. They really think it's going to come out this fall, and I think they're full of crap.
That'd be great. I hope it is.
I mean, I'm all for it, but I'm not counting on it. Like,
right, exactly.
Not even a little bit. No.
I agree. Yeah, you can't. But we've been burned so much these last however many years, just
Yeah.
completely burned.
Well, and how many times have we seen a game that's supposed to come out like in a couple months, and then it gets canned? And I don't just mean by EA, but I mean just in general. You know, it's like, oh, this movie's gonna come out in 2 months. Okay, great, and then it just disappears.
Right.
It happens. It sucks, but it happens.
Nope. Yeah, man. I don't know. I hope it does. Hope it comes out. Hope it's good. We'll see.
It needs to come out. Oh, I wonder if it's gonna come out the same time like Disney Plus drops with The Mandalorian.
Well, they'd be smart if they do it either then or when the new Star Wars movie comes out. If you can go see Star Wars and come home and enjoy the Star Wars games, that's how you should do it. If you can go watch Spider-Man in the movie theater, you should be able to come home and watch and play a game.
Yeah.
You know, these superhero movies, that's one thing they have failed these last 10 years, is you should have been able to go and see a movie and come home and watch and play a game.
Yeah.
You know, before Spider-Man, the last great one to me was like X-Men Legends, and that was like Wolverine Origins. You know, not X-Men Legends. I'm sorry. What was that X-Men Wolverine game? Whatever it's called.
Or it was X-Men Origins Wolverine.
That's it. Yes, and that was
and
the last.
And it had nothing to do with the movie.
Right, but it was fantastic.
Oh, it was so good.
Yeah. So anyway, so we can get back to movies.
Yeah. Speaking of which, there will be no Batman in Batman.
Yeah.
Affleck is out. But the movie will come out June 25th, 2021.
Okay.
So figure a year of an actual filming / post-production cycle, maybe a year and a half. That gives them, what, 6-7 months to cast and finish pre-production?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Best of luck to them. They're gonna need it.
You know, I picked up that I only read a few pages of, but I'm excited about. Have you heard of Batman White Knight?
Yes. I don't know anything about it, but I have heard the title.
Yeah. So let me give you it's basically Elseworlds title.
Okay.
And I'll give you the brief summary. It's after years of epic battles, the Dark Knight finally finds a way to cure the twisted mind of his archenemy, the Joker. The Joker is now sane. The Clown Prince of Crime has now changed his ways, fighting for good Gotham City, and it may just cause Batman to go over the edge in his own sanity. It's basically like the Batman shoves a bunch of pills in his mouth, and the Joker becomes sane because of it. And because of these pills, the Joker he acts like a normal person. But the problem is the Joker is a genius. And he starts to turn society against Batman. He's like, this guy is destroying your homes. His Batmobile just crashed through a building, and who do we hold responsible for that? Who pays for that? And like, it really turns into this like, hey, he's got a point.
Yeah.
Nice. You know, who is this guy? How come he gets away? How come he gets a pass? And in the wake of the destruction he's causing, and like he just goes, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff. But I'm like, this is interesting. I like this. This is cool. This is, and like people start, they're like, the commissioner of the city is just letting it happen. Did you guys know that he talks to him on the roof, and they discuss ongoing cases? Like it goes way into it, and they're like, oh shit. And then, like, it's crazy. It's the stuff they do. Yeah, I won't go too far into it, but I'm really enjoying it. The first volume was out, and Sean Murphy, he wrote and drew it, and so he's working on volume 2.
Okay.
That should come out, I don't know, this year or next year. So I don't know. I was excited, and I'm picking up Mr. Miracle next week too, because that's coming out. But yeah, anyway, I thought it was cool. Sorry, we can go back to movies.
No, that's interesting.
Yeah, it was an interesting concept. So if you can find it, go ahead and pick it up and read it. It's a really awesome read. It's a really cool Elseworlds. Nice. That's the thing. Like, it didn't have to be an Elseworlds. Like, all the stuff in it, like, it's very much in our universe. And then towards the end, you're like, the way they dress and everything else, you're like, oh no, this. And what's awesome about it is it's very much the animated series. They found every excuse to put any character in it. I want to spoil one thing.
Okay.
One thing, Harley Quinn.
Okay.
When the Joker goes sane.
Oh, she must go bonkers.
And it's Harley Quinn, and she's just like how she is in the movie, right? With Daddy's little angel or whatever it is. And she when she finds the joke, she talks to Joker, and she's like, and then she's talking exactly how she does in the movie. It's very much the movie version of her, and the Joker's like, "I'm sorry, Harley, but I I used you. I manipulated you and your feelings towards me to make you do terrible things and blah blah blah." And she's like, "You're not Mr. J." And then suddenly a hammer hits her on the side of the head, and it's the original Harley Quinn, and you find out that was an imposter who has been running around Gotham City as Harley Quinn for years now. The original Harley Quinn backed out whenever the Joker killed Jason Todd. She's like, he's gone too far, and so she was replaced, but no one knew that. This imposter came in and just pretended to be her, and everyone went along with it.
Well, I mean, wouldn't you?
Yes, and I was like, that's a pretty fucking cool retcon.
That's brilliant. I love that. That's
That's
awesome.
how you get the original Harley Quinn back, and then I won't say what happens to the imposter, but she's still way a part of it. She's a big part of the story. And so that's how you get, and she was like in the original animated costume, and there's tons of stuff from the animated show that you could tell he was like, how can I get everything in the show? Mr. Freeze, let's get it all in here. And it's very much that. So it's really cool. I would definitely recommend it.
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah, it's cool. But who do you think's going to play Batman?
I was just about to ask you the same question, because I've got an idea that I saw, and it freaked me out to the point where I want to see this just to watch the world explode. But who would you cast?
I don't know. I really don't know. Who's been hasn't Jake Gyllenhaal always been rumored to be him?
They kicked his name around a lot, the last time, but I think now that he's Mysterio, I think this would present at least a scheduling conflict, probably, if nothing else.
If they continue on with Mysterio, yes.
Fair.
Yeah. I don't know. Who do you think?
Rationally, I think Jon Hamm's a pretty good choice.
Yes, that would be awesome. He's kind of older, but so was Ben Affleck.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'll tell you what.
You have a jawline.
Yeah. I saw this. I forget who was it did. I think Boss Logic did a mock-up of this. And I laughed my head off when I saw it, because it's also it's the worst idea in the world, and also kind of brilliant in a way.
Okay.
Robert Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
No.
No?
He's too skinny.
You can't see him as a younger Bruce Wayne?
No.
Yeah, you sure?
I don't know. Last time I saw him, he was a skinny vampire.
Yeah, but that was 15 years ago.
Oh, well, yeah, you're right.
Think on that for a minute.
Wait, was that 15 years ago?
That was 10 years ago, maybe. Maybe it was 10.
Maybe 10. Yeah.
Yeah, but still, it's a long.
You're making me way older than I am.
That's still a long damn time.
He's too skinny. I mean, Christian Bale was skinny, but granted, he put on weight.
Well, but okay, yeah, like people can't bulk up for a role.
It's true. I don't see it.
Yeah, I mean, 10 years ago. I mean, my God.
Yeah, I don't see it. It's not the worst idea or anything. If they came out and said he was Bruce Wayne in the new Batman movie, I would be okay. That's cool. I want to see what it's about. I'm not one of the people to flip out or anything, but that wouldn't be my first pick. And granted, I haven't seen anything he's done recently, and I hear he's a really good actor in a lot of the movies he's been doing recently.
And that's the thing. He gets a lot of crap for Twilight, and deservedly so. Let's be honest.
Yeah, but I hear he's grown though.
He's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nick Jonas offers to be the new Batman.
No.
That's what it says here.
No.
Boss Logic imagines Robert Pattinson and Bruce Wayne, and then below it says that he was offered the role.
Wait, that Nick Jonas was offered, or...
Hold on.
Or that he just kind of stepped up and was like, well, I'll do it.
Let's see here. Nick Jonas offering to play the part. No, I'm sorry. Nick Jonas was offering to play the part. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because, I mean, of course, you would. Like...
Right. I don't know anything about Nick Jonas, so I don't know if he's a good actor or not.
No.
I know he's like a Disney Channel kid or something, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Or he was no Jonas Brother, right?
Yeah.
Isn't there a band or something? I don't know.
He also like he has taken a stab at acting.
Okay.
And nick the femoral artery of acting, basically.
Right.
Like he's
What
bad.
about Oscar Isaac?
Be okay with that.
Yeah.
I would have.
I think he's in everything.
I was gonna say, like, if he has time. Like,
yeah, that's the thing. He's in everything, and the problem is I would, but then again, Ben Affleck. It's hard to be like that's Bruce Wayne instead of going that's Ben Affleck. But Oscar Isaac, I would have the same problem. I'd be like that's Oscar Isaac. Now John Hamm, I think, was born to play the role because he looks exactly how I imagine the animated Batman character to be. He's older.
Yeah.
He's wiser, or at least in my head, that's how I see him. He has years on him. Man, I don't know. I don't know who they should pick. I mean, what about what's his face?
That narrows it down.
Yeah, I know. His dad's in The Mule. What?
Oh, Clint Eastwood's kid.
Clint Eastwood's kid. Yes.
Yeah, was it George Eastwood or something like that? I forget his name. That's not the worst choice in the world.
He'd be a good Wolverine.
He would be a good Wolverine.
Yeah. There's probably a ton of young kids that I just don't know that would. Oh, Scott Eastwood. That's it.
Scott Eastwood. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be good. It'd be crazy if they got like Steve Amell or something. But yeah, I don't know. Clint Eastwood. Hey, why don't we just get Clint Eastwood to play him? Like an old Bruce Wayne.
No, if you're gonna do old man Batman and you don't get Michael Keaton, then shame the hell on you.
Yeah, you could totally do that. Yeah, there you go. That's our pick. Get Michael Keaton to do it.
Oh, they've been talking about that forever. Cause they're like, we should do a Batman Beyond movie, and Michael Keaton should play Bruce Wayne. I'm like, that's sure. Why the hell not?
Absolutely.
Like,
yes.
I'm down for that.
Yeah. But yeah. Oh man, I want to spoil another part of White Knight.
Don't.
Okay, I won't. Because there's just cool stuff in it. It has nothing to do with what we just talked about. I should say that.
Okay.
So spoiler. But anyway, it just made me think of something. That's all. All right. So where were we? Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah, Nintendo gave a vague update on the Illumination film, saying it'll come out in 2022. I'm like, okay.
What do you think it's gonna be about?
I imagine it's gonna be about a plumber named Mario.
Well, I mean, we got the Detective Pikachu, which is totally left field for Pokemon. We got Sonic that looks weird and is in the real world. Is this going to be a straight up animated movie?
Yes. It's Illumination. Like,
that's right. Yeah,
it's gonna be an actual animated movie.
Good. Okay.
Yeah. No, Nintendo is not gonna try to. How do you just imagine for a moment how ridiculous a live-action Super Mario movie would be, and why that's something that's never been done before and never should be done, because it would just be awful.
Right. I don't. Okay, so this is going to be way more directed to kids than like even Pokemon or Sonic, because those seems like
Illumination is the Grinch and the Minions guys. Like it's a kid. It's going to be a kids movie. Yes.
But those characters are sarcastic enough and more cynical where you can adults can enjoy it too, if that makes sense. But Mario,
Bowser,
I can't see that.
Bowser and Luigi, man.
Yes.
And Toad. Could you imagine like Toad just being Toad being just dry-witted, like British humor almost? He could totally do it. He'd absolutely do it and get away with it.
Waluigi.
Oh man. If they don't cast Steve Carell as Waluigi, what are they doing with their lives?
Right. Oh, I loved Steve Carell in Cardi B's commercial, the Super Bowl. He's like, I should get a. Man, my mind is just melted tonight. I can't think. It's too late. He's like, I should get a catchphrase. Oh, did you see that?
I have not seen, like, aside from the Endgame spot and the Stella the Stella Artois and the
It,
like I haven't seen anything.
It's a bunch of people doing their catchphrases. So it's Lil Jon going, "Oh yeah, okay,"
Oh,
and then it's Cardi B doing her "okay," her little bird noises or whatever.
Yeah.
And Steve Carell's like, "Man, I need to get a catchphrase," and obviously his is that's what she said.
Yeah.
But I thought it was cute. I thought it was funny. But yeah, man. So hey, talk to me about this next bit of news here. So how did this work? Because I know they announced the movie, they showed the trailer.
Right.
Is this going straight to Netflix?
Yes. So,
awesome.
Well, because here's the thing: like movies can get made. This is what happens at Sundance. People make movies and they go to Sundance, and then studios bid on them for the right to distribute them because that's how they make their money. And that's how Kevin Smith talks about Clerks all the time. He made it himself, was his own money. He took it to Sundance, and what was it? The Weinsteins, I guess, bought it, and that's what they do. They buy the distribution rights, and then that's how they get to make their money. So that's what happened with Efron's serial killer movie. After Sundance, everybody was like, "Wow, this movie's really cool," and Netflix. I kind of imagine Netflix as like the person at the back of the room when like everybody else is bidding and they're like, $1 million, I've got, do I hear $1.5 million? $1.5 million, thank you, sir. I've got $1.5 million, do I hear 2 million? Do I hear 2.5? Do I hear 2.5? How about 2.25? I'll take 2.25, all right? 2.25 going once, 2.25 going twice. $9 million! Sold to the asshole in the back for $9 million.
Right, exactly.
But that's, you get movies like this out of Sundance, out of Cannes, or Cannes, whatever. I do it different every time. There's always one that pops up and people go, "Oh, we want that. No, we want that." Well, you're going to have to outbid us. Okay. And, then Netflix comes along and just right on the table and you're like, "Okay, yeah, you're Netflix. We get it." Don't know when it's going to come to Netflix. It is going to get a theatrical run towards the end of the year.
Gotcha. They're gonna wait that long?
Well, they're gonna have to because they want this thing to win awards. So they're gonna drop it during awards season.
Oh boy.
And
okay.
Yeah. So
because right now, I mean, the Ted Bundy tapes that, and apparently it's the same guy.
It's the same guy.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's have you seen any of it? The documentary?
No, because I'm not interested in humanizing him.
What do you mean humanizing it? They don't humanize him in it. They make him out to be a monster.
Yeah, but not really.
I mean, you hear his point of view, like he's obviously talking in it, and he's trying to make himself, but they're not shy about saying this guy cut their heads off.
Right,
and, like,
that's
was a very evil person.
Right, but there's a different kind of humanizing with somebody like that where it's not. I get it. I'm not saying that the program is trying to humanize him. But I'm saying they're presenting this from his point of view of somebody of some kind of rational mind.
Well, that's what's crazy about it is they do, and I've only seen I think like an episode and a half. There's 4 of them, so maybe not even half of it yet. So I can't say what happens in the later part, but there wasn't once where I was like, this guy could have been me, or anything like that, or this guy could have I empathize with him. There wasn't once where I thought that. There was a million times where I thought this guy could be anyone, and that's I think how you should think about it, because you can't trust people. And it's important to build relationships and of course and everything else, but you also, and this was what, in the 70s. You have to be cautious. There are too many people out there that are just like this. And they do talk about the numbers of how many different people are like him, and how ignorant we were as a society to serial killers until very recently.
Yeah.
And how there's way more of them than we ever thought. We can't even, they were like, we can't, there's no way to even know how many there were, because things were just written off as circumstance and everything else. And it was, what it got me was there were so many women that were willing, that all of the friends and family were like, there's no way they would go anywhere with a stranger, or there's no way they would talk to a stranger or do any of this. And it's because he was handsome.
He's handsome and charming.
He was charming. He was handsome. He dressed professionally. He was he was someone who, you know, an attractive person. He was an attractive person. So when you come up and you present yourself and you talk to them, these women would talk to him. Or obviously they don't know, right? But that's what they assume happened, is that he just, you know, he charmed them essentially, and that's frightening. And you know, and that's what I got from it, I guess, is that like that could be anybody. It doesn't matter what you look like. You know, you can be fucking crazy, and I think most of us know that, obviously, but it was just so shocking. And I don't know. I kind of like the real world documentaries that Netflix has been doing. Um, but I understand why people are thinking that like this is, because I saw people were upset that the trailer for that new movie was making it seem like he was, you know, like you should root for him or something.
Yeah, there was a little bit of painting him as a protagonist.
Yes,
And as opposed to saying, like, by the way, this guy is the personification of pure evil, just so you know.
exactly. Right, exactly. And I actually agree with a lot of people, because I saw that trailer and I was like, yeah, like they're making Zac Efron look fucking cool. And I guess that's the idea, because that's how this guy was.
Yeah, which
And it,
and that itself prompts a discussion of, like, you know,
mhm.
it is who, you know, well, you know, the way that this story is told, it's like you want us to root for him. It's like, what if that's just the story and you're looking at this and going, hey, this guy doesn't seem half bad except for the serial killer part? Isn't that kind of how we got to the serial killer part?
Exactly. Yeah. And it's, you know, and I hear it gets wild. Like I hear he like proposes in the middle of court, and
Oh
what's
yeah,
wild about it is a lot of this courtroom stuff took place in Orlando here. Like, you know, this is something I talked to my parents about, and they're like, "Yes, we were there at the courtroom. Like this was massive
yeah,
when it happened in Orlando." So it's, you know, I agree with you. I totally understand why you wouldn't want to watch it. I like these kind of things, the true crime documentaries. It's kind of my guilty pleasure, I guess.
yeah. I'll
So
I'll check it out because knowing that they were done by the same guy and then seeing the trailer, I was like, I don't know if I want to sit through like a whole 4-part series on Ted Bundy the human.
well, yeah,
That's, you know,
but that's the thing though, is at the end of the day, he's a monster, but there there are people out there just like that you know, I guess it, you know, there's the stereotype, I guess, that these people are supposed to look like monsters.
yeah, they're supposed to
And
be loners and creeps and like
exactly,
all that kind of stuff.
weirdos. And
Yeah,
yeah, and it's totally, and it was just the complete opposite. And it's definitely an eye opener. You know, and it's, man, it's fucked up. You know, just to put it blunt. But again, I only watched like an hour and a half. There's only so much of that I can watch at one time, because it's like, okay, this is, you know, when they started showing the women, and then it was like this month, and then they show the map, and they're like missing, missing, and you're just like, holy shit.
yeah,
And it was the idea, you know, he essentially says in it that, like, you know, what trips, what when he starts opening up is when the interviewer was like, "You're saying this wasn't you, but what do you think the person who did this? Why do you think they would do it?" And that's when, I guess, Ted Bundy, we're assuming, is the audience. That's when you think, "Oh, this is his opportunity to just put it all out there," and it's a way for him to say it without saying it was him. And so he goes into detail about how, like, I thought that, not I, but he was just like, maybe the person thought that if he could just get one more, and that would satisfy him, and then one more and one more, and it almost sounded like a drug.
yeah.
And how his brain worked with, like, if I just had one more, that's gonna be the one that this is gonna satisfy me forever. And immediately was like, I need another. And it's just creepy. But anyway, sorry, didn't mean to turn the podcast into true crimes documentary talk, but anyway, um, whew. But I was surprised when Netflix got that, because I was like, this is gonna be the theater, right? Like I thought that was going to theater. I thought it had like a date and everything.
No, it didn't have a date because
Gotcha.
it didn't have a distributor.
Gotcha.
But now it does, and it's Netflix.
Yeah.
But they did say they are going to do a theatrical run so that it gets awards consideration and all that stuff. So
Netflix making some moves.
yeah, much to the chagrin of exhibitors. because Netflix really wants to do things their own way, you know, and for them that works fine. But when they're like, hey, by the way, these things should win awards, and you go, okay, great, here are the guidelines, and Netflix goes, yeah, screw your guidelines, and so everybody else says, okay, well then screw your awards consideration. You know, Amazon has not had this problem. You know, they put their stuff in theaters for, you know, whatever it is they're supposed to do, and then you know, that's it. And it's not huge. I mean, that's why Manchester by the Sea won stuff, even though it arguably shouldn't have. But you know, it had a theatrical run, and then it went away. It doesn't have to be a whole big hoopla to do, you know. But I don't think Netflix can understand the idea of, fine, we'll put it in some theaters to get it out there. You know, we'll check this box, and that'll be that. They're looking at it going, this costs money. People aren't going to go see it. Why should we bother jumping through this hoop? And on the one hand, there is an argument to be made there. On the other hand, you know, I'm a big fan of theaters, so shut the hell up. Like, I don't... there is an argument against, but I'm way too tired to try to ration that out.
Right. Yeah, no, I...
Aside from, this is the way it's always been done, because that's always a stupid argument. It doesn't matter what your thing is. Well, we've always done it this way. Well, so what? Like,
yeah. Netflix is definitely shaking stuff up.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw that Incredibles 2 is now on there.
Yeah, it came to Netflix.
Yeah. Where were we? Whew.
TV news. So, speaking of Netflix.
Yes.
Well, in this case, Amazon. They've announced some of the cast for Invincible. It's going to be an 8-episode series, and it will have, among others, Kevin Michael Richardson, Zazie Beetz, Sandra Oh, Seth Rogen, J.K. Simmons, Stephen Yeun, and Mark Hamill.
Ooh, Zazie Beetz. I like her.
Yeah, she's good. She's damn good.
So, man, you see Atlanta.
I know.
My buddy, the other day, he's watching The Sopranos, right? Randomly in our group chat, he's like, bro, I just saw Atlanta, and I can't get enough. He's like, I'm contemplating calling out to work today. It is so good. He's like, I am laughing my ass off. You know, when he found out that they casted a black guy as Justin Bieber, and he was just like, this is fucking awesome. He's like, they don't care. You know, this is amazing. And I was like, yeah, there's so many cool little fun moments like that in the show. It's so good, man. It's so good. You gotta watch it, dude. Yeah, because there's just little funny things like that where you're like, I would never see that. Why did they do that? But it's hilarious, you know. It's so good. It's so freaking good. And there's weird episodes where it's all comedy for the most part, and there's episodes that just go completely off the deep end of like other stuff, other genres, like horror and stuff like that. And you're like, man, he's so talented, dude. Childish Gambino. You gotta see it, man. Definitely gotta see it.
Yeah, it's on my list.
And the actors in are blowing up. Man, I can't think of the movie that just came out. It was the weird one. Oh man, I'll come back to that. We'll come back to that. So anyway, do you ever read any Invincible comics?
Some, like, I think I read the first couple issues a while back or something.
Okay.
I know the basic premise of it. So I mean, yeah.
Yeah. I wonder. Yeah. Oh, Mark Hamill. Who he's gonna play?
I don't know. It's gonna be interesting because I know J.K. Simmons is playing the dad. He's what, Omni-Man or whatever.
Yes. Yeah.
That's gonna be, and Stephen Yeun is his kid. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
That makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see here.
I don't think they've announced like who most anybody's gonna be.
Okay, so Lakeith Stanfield, who's in Atlanta, he's in the movie Sorry to Bother You.
Okay, is he the main dude?
He's the main dude. Yeah.
Okay.
He was in. You might notice him from he was in Get Out.
Okay.
He was like the first guy who they captured, and then in the middle of the story, he was like telling them, "You have to get out."
He was the one that they recognized.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Great actor.
Yeah. Oh, because I mean, he was like it looked like he carried. Sorry to bother you.
Yes.
Like that's one I want to see just because that looks so weird. Like it looks.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like such a good weird.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, the actors in it are just phenomenal. And they steal the show, and I got into it because I was like, man, I love Childish Gambino, Donald Glover. I love him. Like everything he touches, I enjoy. And then when watching that show, you're introduced to all these other people, and you're just like, damn, these guys are great. And they get their time to shine. Like he has an entire episode just him and other characters, and he's a great actor. But yeah, man, you got to see Atlanta. We got to talk about Atlanta.
Yeah.
Yeah. But okay, so where were we? Invincible, man. Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to see who these guys are playing. But yeah, I only read like the first volume. Here it gets crazy.
Yeah, it should be interesting. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We also got some Why the Last Man news.
Yeah, because we know FX did a pilot order a while back. Evidently they liked the pilot, so they gave it a full season order.
Mm-hmm.
So, cool.
Cool.
As far as FX also announced that the third season of Legion will be the last.
Okay.
Which, okay, I still haven't watched it. I've heard it's bizarre as hell. Mm-hmm. Which is good. I'm glad it was. It should be.
Mm-hmm.
They also announced a March 27th release date for What We Do in the Shadows.
And I wanted to see this trailer and I haven't.
Oh man, it's
can we take a quick break?
Sure.
Run to the restroom, watch the trailer.
Go for it. I gotta grab something to drink anyway.
All right, we will be right back. And we are back. Man, that's hilarious. That's exactly what I want out of that series.
Exactly, it's the movie on TV.
Mm-hmm. Energy vampire, all that new kind of stuff they put in there.
Oh, that's funny as hell.
Yeah, it's great. Oh man, and that's so soon too. It's like it's at 3/9 or 3/27.
Yeah, it's what a month? What 7-8 weeks? 7 weeks, I think, something like that.
Yeah. So, man, that's whew. I remember when they announced it, I was like, "That's perfect. That's how you do that."
Yeah. They were half drunk. Well, so what's the problem? No, they were half drunk. They had been drunk half.
Yeah.
Oh god.
It's so good. Oh boy. Oh man. So that's awesome. Comes out soon too.
Yeah.
We had some anime released.
Yeah, Microsoft either gave away or is still giving away the first season of Dragon Ball Z. I don't know when this deal expired.
Yeah.
I don't know if it did or if it's soon or what. I think it was like the end of this week, maybe. But on top of it, and then Amazon looked at that and was like, hold my beer, because they decided to give away the first season of Attack on Titan, the first season of Black Clover, and the first season of My Hero Academia.
Oh yeah.
They were just like, here, have these.
Exactly.
Yeah, alright. I mean, sure.
That's how you get people in.
Yeah. I don't know. But, I don't know, I just thought that was weird, because it happened completely out of the blue.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But
yep, yeah. That was cool.
Not a whole lot going on more with video games that we haven't talked about. We talked about Apex Legends. Nintendo announced that there's going to be a mobile Dr. Mario game. It's going to be called Dr. Mario World. It's going to come out sometime in the summer.
Yep.
Okay, fine. Great. They were not doing anything with that property anyway. I'm down for like a free-to-play mobile game with all the little microtransactions and all that crap. That's fine. Whatever. Doesn't bother me a bit. Xbox. Xbox has decided that Xbox Live needs to come to more platforms. Okay? Now, I do not know what functionality is going to be included in all this, because you can already sign into your Xbox Live account to check achievements and all that kind of stuff. You can already do that on a lot of platforms. So I don't know what it is that they're doing when they say they're bringing Xbox Live to iOS, to Android, and to the Switch.
I don't know. You think they'll allow like? Isn't there like games and stuff on Xbox Live attached to it? Like,
Well, but
obviously there's games, but I mean, like, isn't there like a arcade style system or something?
oh, I
Like, I don't have an Xbox, so I don't know.
I don't know what you mean.
Aren't there? Do you think that these systems like Nintendo and PlayStation are going to allow something like Xbox Live on their consoles, where you can use their store to play any games attached to your Xbox Live account?
I don't know why they.
I don't think
Well,
they would. I guess is
but there again, if you have, I actually don't see this as a downside for Nintendo though. Like if I get it. You're buying something through Xbox and blah 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 blah, but you can't take an Xbox on the road with you. You know?
right.
So if it's functionality that you can get through the Switch, maybe this gets more people to buy a Switch.
Right.
I mean, maybe they play these games on the Switch and decide, because it
Well,
again.
okay. I guess what I was getting at is Microsoft is working on their cloud streaming through Xbox Live.
Okay, I have
It's called
this
it's called X Cloud.
never heard of it.
Okay, so yeah, this article is saying Microsoft is also working on an X Cloud gaming streaming service that will stream Xbox games to PCs, consoles, and mobile devices later this year.
Huh.
So if this is what's a part of it, you would technically be streaming whatever is available on that service on your Switch or on your PlayStation.
Right. It basically sounds like what PlayStation Now was
Exactly.
originally.
And
Which,
imagine PlayStation Now on your Switch.
yeah. Well, I mean, that's, because when Microsoft did their version of PlayStation Now, they called it Game Pass.
Right.
So,
But
they're.
imagine, but strictly streaming, you can't download the game.
Right,
So
right.
so
No, I got that.
xCloud is
Yeah.
supposed to be strictly streaming. So imagine you're on your PlayStation 4 or 5 or whatever, or in your Switch, and you can stream any of the games that's attached to your Xbox account. Why would Nintendo want you to have that on their system, a streaming type thing? And so I guess this isn't a part of it just yet, but that's where my next thought is.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to hear more about this, because aren't they doing this at, like, GDC or something? They're going to announce it
Yes.
officially.
Right. We're getting so much closer to just having these manufacturers going, hey, which one of us do you want to buy, but you can stream any of these games on it from any console manufacturer.
And I'll tell you what, I was turned off from the idea of streaming because PlayStation Now, before they started allowing you to download, was garbage.
I
It
agree.
was absolute trash. Like, you couldn't play. I was trying to play Saints Row 2, and it
Right.
was crap. But when I played Assassin's Creed Odyssey, because I did the what was it, Project Stream or whatever it was,
Yeah.
and it was flawless.
It's going to get better and better and better, but this is also going to alienate a big part of the country because our country does not have good internet.
No, this is something that needs to be that these companies need to think about.
Yes, I don't think it's anytime soon, but I do think that they are going to create options for people who do have high-speed internet. They might come out with something that's like, hey, here's this.
I mean, it's all in the race for more profit and less cost, because if they can, which is more expensive to have the servers and whatnot that they're going to need to run the streaming service, or the manufacturing of the physical product, which may not actually go anywhere and is not repurposable.
Like, it's a crazy world to think about, especially when we are, GameStop is where it's at.
Yeah, what's going on with GameStop?
Yeah, they were trying to get bought by somebody, and they can't get bought, and it was reported out that they can't get anyone to buy them right now. And it's scary. Like, I feel bad for, that's gonna. I can't imagine working at GameStop right now, wondering, if you're gonna have a job in a year from now. That's kind of what all the analysts are essentially saying, is that in a year it won't exist.
They're only giving man. I'm gonna tell you what. If Movie Pass can still be a thing today, GameStop can last more than a year.
I understand, but I mean, it's just I think they see the writing on the wall as Blockbuster did. Everything went to streaming, and If you go into a GameStop now, it does not look like a GameStop 5 years ago. It is nothing but toys and geeky stuff.
It depends on your GameStop, and I say this because there are two different GameStops here in Statesville. One is very much that. One looks more like a Hot Topic almost.
Mm-hmm.
The other one looks like an old GameStop with an extra an extra display of merch.
Right.
It very much. So that's what's weird. You know, because I have both. I have the one that's just crammed full of merch, and then like some games on the walls. And I have another one, the bigger one, ironically enough, I guess, is all games. Right. And then you have like a rack of like the hats and socks and that kind of stuff.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, what's happened essentially is 2015 their stock was worth $46. Now it's like 11.
Yeah.
And it's and no one, it just drastically dropped. It was at 15 not too long ago. Now it's dropped. It just I don't know what's going to happen. I hope someone does buy them out. I hope someone figures it out. The problem is the competition, of course. Amazon and Best Buy, I think they're offering better, and it wasn't recently like all of the companies stopped their programs, right? Where like you get all the bonuses or whatever for pre-ordering. Didn't like Best Buy shut down their
something like that? Yeah, they did something like that. Yeah,
and Amazon did too. They were. It was like you get $20 off every new game or something like that. They all shut that kind of stuff down. Best Buy's still pretty good about it. They're very competitive, but it's hard when you got someone like Amazon, and it's hard when everyone's going digital. And GameStop is not a mom and pop shop by any stretch of the imagination, but I still don't want to see it go under.
GameStop, and I hate saying this because of what this proposal entails. If GameStop cut half of their stores, they could be in business. Look, like I just said, Statesville has 2 GameStops. Arguably, this town has 22,000 people in it. Yeah. We don't need 2 GameStops. We don't.
I agree. That's the thing. They are literally on top of each other.
Yeah, they are. And I hate that. I hate that I'm saying, but I mean, that's capitalism for you.
But instead of it completely going under, I would rather them cut, do the Thanos snap.
Yeah. And I think that's what they'll do. And I think GameStop sticks around. And I tell you why. Because family video is still a thing.
Yeah.
Family video still exists and is thriving. Like, they're not just hanging on. They are the one. They are still. You can still go to a video rental place.
Well, see, that's the other thing. There are game stores around. I mean, there are. I'm lucky enough to live in a big enough city where there are a ton of mom and pop game stores, and I'd actually rather shop there. But at the same time, I don't know. I unfortunately think it is at that time where people, when it came to music, and they used iTunes. And why would you buy a CD when you have iTunes and you have an MP3 player, and now your phone has the capability of having all that music on it? It's I just see that industry, unfortunately, it's going all digital eventually.
It's going. It's absolutely going. I think it's taking longer than people thought it would take.
It's a shame. I don't want them to turn into GameStop at the same time. That's thousands of jobs, and to me, that's the big thing. That's really the only thing I care about with all that news. I don't really care about a company, but I do care about the people that work for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I just can't imagine that there. And that's the thing. There's so many of them. That's a lot of people without work.
But I mean, GameStops are not Starbucks. You don't go to a different one every day to get the same thing. You go there once to get the same thing. Like, you go and you get, and then you come back. You come back a couple months later, you trade it in, you get something else.
Yeah.
It's not the same. You can't have that many of them.
And have you noticed now, like, when you walk in, you can't just go to the counter? Or is yours like that?
Mine is. I walk right up.
Every GameStop I've been to in the last 6 months, there is just wall of stuff that they make you kind of like a maze.
Oh, they do like I get that at like Michael's or like a Hobby Lobby or something where it's like
Hobby Lobby.
Well, where like you have to wind through the thing to get to the cash register.
That's what every GameStop I'm in. It's like, especially the smaller ones, they have it where it's blocked off so you can't get to the counter. There's people leaving, and it's very like it would be weird if you went through that tunnel through them
Right.
and then to the back of the line. It's like, no, you got to walk past all the games, through all the toys. And I get it. That's probably what's someone in marketing was like, hey, let's make it so they have to go through this tunnel. But
Because I mean, I remember seeing that at Borders years ago, where like that was just how the line worked. Like it snaked past all of the the self checkouts at Walmart up here are like that. Like you don't just walk right up. You have like that little alleyway of all the candies and the sodas in the cooler and that stuff.
Yep.
You know, they took, you know, I mean it's the same principle as like why they put everything at the end of the cashier, you know.
Right.
But they just turned it differently.
Exactly. Yep. Oh yeah. And like the ones that are much bigger and wider and like, you know, they're pretty much pawn shops because the thing's all the way in the back. So like the ones that where it's like if the checkout is all the way in the back of the store, it's right in front of it and it's all in front of it. You can't just go up to the front.
That's what. Yeah, because mine are both on the side.
Gotcha.
And you could just you just walk right up.
Oh wow, yeah. No. Well, it technically can, but the way they positioned everything, you're like getting in front of somebody, I guess.
Right. It's not the preferred. Technically the line starts back here, kind of deal.
Right. Yeah. Right. And I'm like walking through it all, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm just drowning in stuff that's sent out in a loot crate.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, so I don't know what they do to turn this around. I think you're right. The unfortunate thing is they're gonna have to cut and close out a lot of stores, and maybe that saves them to where it's like then you have a bunch of people. Then you maybe get the GameStop night openings where it's like everyone's in town is at this GameStop.
Well, and here's the thing though, cutting down like that, making a company look leaner, makes them look more efficient, makes them look more attractive. It makes them look more attractive to buyers.
I agree, and you can have a community. You can like, okay, here's the GameStop.
Yeah.
Everyone in town is going to it. You have way more people going to one location.
Yeah.
And you meet people. I don't know. That's how I think you do it.
It can be done. It's just going to require. It sucks. It's going to require sacrifice, and it is just going to suck. But it's one of those things. I mean, they did it to themselves when they built too many because they did. They made too many.
Yeah, and you know, we're nerds, so when we see GameStop and stuff like that, I think about the comic book shops too. Like,
yeah,
I don't want those to go down either, you know, because then where are you gonna get them? You're digital or a Barnes and Noble, where the guy looks at you weird when you bring it up, and they're like, "That, why aren't you reading I don't know, a Dan Brown book?" You know, oh boy.
Because I want things that I understand are fiction.
Right. Let me read my cartoons. I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, I agree. Like, get out of here. No, man, I remember once I bought, what was it, a Star Wars, I forgot what it was. It was an art book or whatever.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it was the art of the movie or whatever. And I brought it up there, and the guy was like, oh, wow, I didn't know they made these. And I was like, yeah, it's like art of the movies and all this other stuff, or blah, blah, blah. He was like, I'm getting one. Like, he was sold on it that day. And I'm like, you work here. How did you not know this was here?
Dude, go in there and look around. How many thousands of books do they have there?
Yeah, but how do you not catch that? I don't know.
Probably because you don't work in that section.
I guess you're right. I don't know. I feel like if I worked at a store, I would know every inch within a few weeks.
Well, I mean, you know, you and I are cut from the cloths of, you know, people who actually work. So I mean,
yeah, you're right. You're right.
To be fair.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
We see something and we're like, "Oh, cool! This would be something I should learn about." And everybody else is like, "But that doesn't come with a raise."
Oh, dude, I don't want to bring up the bank's name. If I could talk about it real fast, I was so upset. This is gonna be my rant for a minute. I went into the bank. It was 1:00. There are 3 tellers, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's maybe 6 or 7 people sitting in chairs that are customers. And then to the left is where, like, kind of the people who work at the bank that aren't the tellers.
Right.
They're the ones if you're getting a loan or whatever.
Right, the associates or whatever it is.
Associates. Yeah. All of those desks are empty except one man who's not talking to anybody. And when we're standing in line, and there was 3 tellers, and 2 of them were talking to each other. One of them was actually helping somebody. They're helping someone. Finally, it gets to me. The guy walks past, and we're like, "Hey, is there anyone like here that can help?" He's like, "Well, I'm not on that side. I'm not on the teller side." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, thank you for nothing." And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, "Okay, well, thanks." And then finally get up there, and I started an account with them. Right, got my new ATM card. Never came with a PIN number that I'm supposed to put in there in the mail. I call up, they say, well, we can't give you the PIN number. You got to go into a branch or wait for us to send you a new one. I'll go in the branch. It'll just take a minute. Go in the branch. Well, the tellers can't do it, right? Tellers cannot set up a PIN number for me. For whatever reason, they don't have the magic.
Right.
So they say, well, you got to wait for the other people. And I see 6 people over there. I'm like, well, there's like 6 people over there. I go sit down and I look at the list, and it has a time they sat there. And they sat there for an hour and a half. An hour and a half was the last person who was seen. And I would go, you guys been here for an hour and a half? They said, yeah. I go, the last person was seen was an hour and a half ago? Yes. I walk back up to the teller. They go, well, they're on lunch. Are you kidding me? I go, you guys know they're on lunch? And the people got upset. They're like, what? I'm like, yeah, they just said they're on lunch. The tellers just said everyone's at lunch. What?
Wow.
The teller's like, I didn't say that. And I'm like, you just said that. They're like, well, no, some of them are at lunch. And I'm like, I just need to set up a 4-digit PIN. I don't want to skip anybody, but this is silly. Like, there's 3 of you right now. There's no one in line. And I'm like, there's 3 of you doing absolutely nothing. And I didn't say it like that. I guess that's really rude. But I'm like, there's 3 of you just standing there. Can any of you just set up a 4-digit PIN for me? It can't take too long. No, we can't do that. We can't go on that side. And I'm thinking, oh my God, what magical curtain is going across here where you guys can't help me? And I said that. I was such an asshole. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I'm like, I'm on my lunch break, and no one, this is the worst customer service experience. I'm like, I'm a new customer, and I just want to use my debit card. And I can't wait an hour and a half. If everyone's at lunch, I didn't know this. I didn't know that's how a bank worked, where everyone just went to lunch. Like a doctor's office. Man, I was so upset. So I went down the street because there's another bank literally 2 blocks away, the same exact bank. This is GameStop, for example. I walk in, I'm greeted by somebody. She sits me down. There's a full bank of people working. And I had such a great customer service experience. And I actually helped her with her daughter. Her daughter, I told her what I did and whatnot for a living, and then I was a geek and nerd and whatever. And she said her daughter just got she saved up her money, and she got birthday money to go get a gamepad thing for her iPhone because she wanted to play Fortnite on it. And she went to go get it, and she was disappointed that the gamepad doesn't work for Fortnite mobile. And I told her, I was like, well, let me look it up, because I think I actually just read an article where now Fortnite mobile works with devices, with controllers. And lo and behold, I found out and discovered that Fortnite mobile works with controllers and stuff like that. She was so thrilled. She's like, my daughter's going to be so happy. We're going to go straight to the Apple Store when I get off, and I'm going to get that device for her because she's been wanting to play it on her iPhone. And she took 2 seconds to set up my PIN. Literally had me punch in my social on the computer and then had me punch in my PIN. And I told her, I was like, how could no one behind the counter at the other place do this? And she goes, of course they can. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And of course, I got the corporate number. I called, and I gave a great review for this lady that I helped out, because she was so welcoming, and just the customer service experience was completely different. And of course, I told them about the terrible one I had at the other place. But sorry, I don't even know why I went on this rant, but how crazy is that?
It's, it
I was going to cancel my account, honestly.
I mean, because that's what happens. I mean, so many people, and I see this at both jobs. People show up, they're told this is what is expected of you, and they immediately think, how can I get away with doing less than that and not get fired? And they find a way.
They all looked at me like I was crazy, because I was like, there's 3 of you back there. There's 6 people over here sitting here for an hour and a half, and I'm not trying to skip them. I made that very clear. I was like, I don't want to get ahead of any of these people. But why can't anyone help us? Why is there some magical barrier here? I was like, I'm a new customer, and this is terrible. Yeah, I went to the other place thinking, if this is the same thing, I am canceling my account, because I didn't know banks went to lunch like doctors' offices. And it was just a total different experience. And I didn't expect to go into the second one and be seen immediately at all. I expected to sit down, wait however long it's going to be. But it was completely different. There's people working there, and they wanted to help, and they had a smile on their face. and very personable. Like I said, I helped her with her daughter stuff, and it was just totally different. And that's what I put in my survey. And I was just like, this crazy. Like whoever runs that other place,
That's it.
That's absurd. And the lady was saying that I talked to with customer service. She's like, yeah, we've got complaints about that branch. So
then why in the
oh man,
hell don't you do something about it?
yeah, and that's all with management. You have
Yes.
you have someone running things differently. It was like, hey, you shouldn't be sitting down. If there's people here that need help, why are you standing behind the counter twiddling your thumbs?
Exactly. Like it's
Like,
one thing to be there and say I don't know how to do this. That's
right.
to me that is a perfectly acceptable answer because there are plenty of things at both jobs I don't know how to do.
Exactly. None of them said that.
Yeah.
They just said that they could not. They can't do. I don't know. They
like
gave some excuse. And when I went to the other one, she made it very clear we can all do the same thing.
Yeah, that's
yeah. She's like anyone behind that counter could have helped you with your PIN code because all you had to do was type it in the little machine there at the counter. And I'm like, that's what I thought. Any bank I've ever had, they're like, type it in this pad.
Yeah.
Like, what is it here for if nothing else? So yeah. Anyway, it was bananas. But that's my side rant. I was ready to cancel it. I was like, I know I got my everything hooked up to this account now, but man, I was almost done. But anyway, where were we? Whew. We talked about all the video game stuff pretty much. The Xbox Live. We talked about Apex Legends. Let's talk about some anime.
Yeah. So you made me watch the first season of My Hero Academia.
So how do you like it? Now, let me ask you, do you want to talk about it on this show, or do you want to make our own little show about this?
Yeah, you know, I let's do this as like a backdoor pilot.
Okay.
We'll do it here, and then, like, the next time we do this, it'll be like its own thing.
Okay. Now, do you want to talk about the whole season? Do you want to talk about a few episodes of the season? What do you want to do?
Well, that's up to you. I mean, you had me watch the whole thing, so I wouldn't watch the whole thing.
Okay, so let's talk about it. So, just general impressions. What did you think of it? Was it what you were expecting?
It was better.
It was better
because I had when the movie came out and like we we sold out showings of that. I was like, you know what? With this getting like Dragon Ball kind of popular, there's got to be something to this. So let me check it out. And I watched the first episode, and I thought, this little Deku kid is the whiniest, babiest. I don't want to have to deal with all this crap.
Mm-hmm.
And so I broke my rule. When it's an hour-long show, I'll give you 2 episodes. When it's the half-hour long show, the 22 minutes, whatever that comes out to, I'll give you 3.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have me by then you're done. But after that first episode, I just thought, oh, this is just like every other anime, and this kid's gonna whine, and he's gonna snivel and cry all the time, and I'm gonna hate him, and I just gave up. I absolutely just gave up. Doing this and going back and seeing that in basically the very next episode, he turns that around. I was like,
he does.
Okay, now I understand. Now I see where this is going to go. And as you watch him through the season, I'm like, okay, I now I get it. Now I understand.
Oh yeah, and he grows. He really does.
Yeah, that's what because I was talking about that at my theater job, because that was where everybody was like, you should watch it. You probably like this. You should try it. So when I was telling them, I was like, yeah, I started it, and I got like, by that point, I was like 8 episodes in. They were like, yeah, you really, they said the same thing. They were like, you really watch him grow, and you see what happens to him. It's like, okay, well then, I'm down. Bring it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So if you don't know, My Hero Academia it's set in this world where it's the guy who created this is very much obsessed with Marvel Comics. I saw a few interviews that he did. He was in love with Marvel Comics growing up, and he wanted an anime that he wanted to do it wasn't an anime that he did first. It was a what do you call it?
Manga, right?
Manga, yes. And he wanted to do it, just geared towards superheroes. He wanted a world where there are superheroes, and where there are like schools for superheroes, and that a world where people are born with superpowers. They're known as quirks. And the guy, the main character, He is, of course, obsessed with superheroes. Kind of like, you want to, as the audience, to like see some of yourself in him. Like,
Right.
yes,
He's a fanboy.
he's a fanboy, exactly, and a fanboy knows a hater. I'm just kidding. um, I'm
Oh
never gonna let
man.
that go.
Oh man.
That's funny. But anyway, but yeah, so and he doesn't have a cork at the beginning. He, and it's tragic for him, of course. He's devastated. Um, and you get to see him grow. You get to see that even that that he can be a hero. Um, and he runs across what's the guy's name? His the guy he's obsessed with.
All Might.
All Might. That's it. Yeah. Sorry, I watched the first season a while ago. Then I ran through this one. I'm trying to think because I got if you look at the app, I'm into the second season now.
Yes, I saw that because I was like, oh
Yeah.
man, is that like? I hope he remembers where he was at.
Yes. Yeah. Oh no, it's all good. Yeah. No, man, it's so good.
Yeah.
But
Man, it was so weird because I had forgotten, and I don't know, maybe I didn't notice this the first time I watched it, but when I watched that second episode, I was like, oh, that's Vegeta. Like,
yeah, it's Piccolo Vegeta.
Yeah, that,
Same
like,
guy.
I guess maybe I didn't notice that the first time.
Immediately I noticed. I was like, that is. I thought Piccolo when I heard his voice.
Because like as soon as, but like that second episode, as soon as he started talking, I was like, that's Vegeta.
Yes.
Like that, and now I was like, okay, well now this is really interesting.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And his hero, the guy he's obsessed with, when his quirk is active or whatever, he's this, very stereotypical like Superman looking anime character basically. And then when he's not, he's clearly sick. He was injured. And he essentially gives his quirk over to our hero during the first few episodes, right? I think it's the third one. Second or third
Second
one.
or third, yeah.
Yeah. And he doesn't know how to control it at all.
Yeah. I guess we should say spoilers.
Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about the first season here. And yeah, no, and so basically the story then kind of morphs into him going into the school and all the characters that he surrounds himself with, and the teacher, who's mysterious. He's got all these wrappings around him and stuff like that. What did you think of the high school stuff?
I liked it because it's not overdone. Like it does serve a purpose. You know, the whole thing about like, oh, we have to pick a class rep. Oh god, now we're gonna get into like the daily grind of high school. I really don't want to put up with this crap. But they use that as a device for character development. Like what they do with Ida for that was fantastic. Like I love how they framed that, and they showed, and they keep coming back to like, why does he get to be so great? Well, it's because he's looking at like, Ida's like, I have to look up to these people, especially, Midoriya here, and I'm just like, this kid who, for as intelligent as he is in his own way, is also just an idiot. Largely because he's a kid. As they all are. So they're all kind of the same brand of idiot.
Right.
But it's a fun, because Ida's a character who should be just absolutely dislikable. You should hate, like, he comes from privilege, and he has to be better than everybody because he's supposed to be. But he doesn't come across like that. It's so well nuanced. The whole idea of like, no, my family is the best, so I have to strive to be the best.
Yes.
And it shows there is an odd kind of humility about him, which is fantastic.
Yes.
And it's stuff like that really makes it great. And then of course Kachan, who is just bonkers. Like,
yes. I'm gonna let you take the names.
He's insane.
Yeah.
I love him to death because he's exactly the kind of character he ought to be. But, I mean, at least up to this point, like, he's just nuts.
Yes.
And it's, to watch that, and it's interesting to see the dynamic between, it was great when they introduced Aizawa, because you got to see that, oh yeah, not every hero wants the spotlight and the popularity and the sponsorship.
Right.
Like, some of them actually just want to do good things and be left the hell alone.
Yes, I loved his character.
He's tremendous because
Mm-hmm.
he's the reality check.
Yes.
He is the you look at All Might, and that's the ideal. That's the, I want to be like that. I want to be great. I want to be the symbol of peace. I want to do all of these things.
Mm-hmm.
Aizawa is the one who looks at you and says, "Do you think you can?"
Yes.
Well, yeah, I can. Okay, go prove it.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you can't, he will throw you out on your ass.
Yes.
And not because he's mean, but because he sees that you just can't.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, some people just can't hack it.
Right.
So if you're gonna be a waste of time, don't bother.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a slap in the face that people sometimes need.
Yes.
And I love that they introduced him, and the way that they set him up. Yeah, he's not somebody you want to root for either, but you
Mm-hmm.
know if he's not there,
Mm-hmm.
then things are gonna tilt, and that's not good.
Oh yeah. And what I'm trying to think of the frog kid's name.
Sue.
Sue, that's it. Yes.
Yeah.
Thought it was great. I love how weird they are.
They're great because they're just, and nobody cares.
So different.
Like, that's what's really great, is that
Mm-hmm.
some of these characters are so bizarre.
Oh yeah, she's like spit talks. It just reminded me of Toad.
Yeah.
In a way, but like
basically.
I thought it was cool.
And then the little kid that they have with him, whose name I don't even think I ever knew, who can pull balls off their head.
Yes, yes.
It's like and that's
Minru.
what's great, is that it's like that by itself could be a completely useless ability.
Right.
And you see that from their perspective, where they're freaking out because they're like,
Mm-hmm.
I can't. Look what I can do. I can't fight.
Right.
What are you, insane? And then lo and behold, hey, look, this can actually work.
Yes.
It's tremendously smart.
Oh yeah.
And it doesn't. To this point, I have not hit filler, and this doesn't look like a series that's going to be.
Oh no.
That has any.
The second season to me is so much better, and that says a lot, because the first season I loved.
It's so good, it really
and
is.
It's really good. It kind of transitions from, learning about the main character, and then getting to know these kids at the school, and then it transitions into them going on a field trip.
Oh boy.
Yeah. And where they go is crazy. What did you think of that?
Just the whole, like, hey, we're gonna go to this thing that has the same acronym as Universal Studios Japan.
Right, exactly.
I love
straight up Universal Studios.
I love that. I love that because they were like, it looks like a theme park. Hey, it's designed like a theme park. You can call it USJ. Oh, just like Universal Studios Japan. I died. Oh my god, I was on the floor. I was like, that's just marvelous. That's so damn funny.
Mm-hmm.
And then immediately it all goes wrong.
Yes.
They didn't bother setting anything up, and things go wrong halfway through. It's just before they get their feet under them, all hell breaks loose.
Yep, and this is where you see them sink or swim.
Yeah, and sometimes literally.
Yes. Oh yeah. And some of the people that you think might be the bad guys, or that are jerks, they step up. And the heroes, the ones that are not sure of themselves, really step up.
Yeah.
And this is where you really see them bond, and it really comes into play too in the second season. A lot of this stuff.
Yeah, because I can imagine this, because I mean, you see a hint of that with the combat training.
Yeah.
Where just going through what they did and having to push themselves, because you see what the Deku and Kachan do to each other in that exercise. And everybody else looking at that and going, oh, so we have to follow that?
Right.
And they do. They step it up, and they bring their game. And so there's a little bit of camaraderie that forms from that. And I can't wait to start the second season, because I can't imagine the fallout from just this small war, basically. Like that's that can't not change you. It's crazy. Right. And to see, to kind of see the culmination in season 1 of even All Might's story arc, of him even kind of having to remind himself what a hero is.
Yes.
Is great. He's on top of the world and everything, and even he has to remember what being a hero means. And I think that's a great kind of thing to say, here's the super number 1 hero. Here's the guy who has everything down. He's got everything that you would want as far as the general public is concerned. And even he has moments where it takes a kid or a group of kids to remind him what it really means to be a hero.
Yes.
And I think that sends as much of a message as anything else. This idea that no matter how great you are or think you are, there is always something to learn, and you always have to remember the basics. And it's something that you have to be reminded of from time to time.
Oh yeah.
And just the madness of that last handful of episodes, and the fact that it's handled so well.
Yes.
And they don't try to overdo it. Some of the heroes that get scattered stay where they're scattered. And I appreciated that. I love that they didn't rush to like, no, everybody has to come back for this confrontation. No, it would make sense that not everybody shows up in time.
Right.
I thought that was great.
Yeah.
And just, I can't wait to dive into the next season, because All Might says it best at the end, watching this entire group and the way they acted, you want to watch all of them grow.
Yes.
And see what happens. And that's the brilliance of it. Anybody can make a show with a clear-cut protagonist and a rival and a villain. That's easy. But to craft a show where you build this whole ensemble, you have your obvious leads, but if the supporting characters aren't strong enough, things will fall apart.
Right.
And, I think establishing Ida the way they did in particular really set the tone of like, no, everybody's going to have their moment to step up. Sue gets her moment, and to see, even, Kachan and I can't remember offhand the guy that he was stuck with, the guy who can like make himself like, was it like he turns himself
fire and ice?
No, not him, but he was interesting too.
Yeah, and he plays a big part in the second season.
I can imagine, because that's a hell of a power to have. And he
he vows he will never use the fire in battle. And...
Yeah, we'll see how that's, you say something like that, and then that's immediately like, okay, and check that box.
Like, right, yeah, it's these characters get in interesting places in the second season. Yeah. It's so good.
The other guy who like makes himself solid, like turns himself into like a hard substance. I can't.
Yeah.
Like to see him as kind of like the not quite as arrogant version of Kachan is like, no, I'm a badass, but I'm not insane.
Right. Oh yeah. Kirshima. Man, I need to get better at pronouncing these names.
Go by the hero name. What's the hero name?
Red Riot.
Okay.
Yes. Now, what did you think of man, I'm gonna butcher this guy, Fumikage? He's the guy who had the dark shadow, the hawk. Like his face is like a bird.
He was interesting. I would like to have seen a little more of him, because I think that that's
get a lot more of him in second season.
Good.
Yes.
Good, because they tap just a little on him, and I get it. They didn't have, what, 13 episodes or whatever it was.
Exactly.
You couldn't flesh out everybody, but I did like, that they did cut some of that battle time to him to show like, oh yeah, no, he's kind of a badass too.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's what, it's so good. I went in thinking like, and that's the thing. I think everyone talks to me the same way they talk to you. They're like, bro, you like superheroes. Like this is the anime that I think you would get into. And I'm like, okay. I saw all this stuff and I was like, I don't know. Are why I don't, and once I started getting into it, I was like, man, I can't stop.
Yeah.
Um,
No, there's this show to me looks like the best parts of Naruto.
yeah.
Especially when it comes to character building, because by the time you get to the end of Shippuden,
Mm-hmm.
everybody's story, like, because you can, if somebody can please do a cut of Naruto that gets rid of so much filler.
Yeah.
If we could get like a Naruto Kai, that would be great.
Yes.
Because you can see so much growth because it covers such a huge chunk of time.
Yeah.
You get to see like all these characters and even some of the like smaller little side characters that you don't think much about. They have their arcs, and you see by the end like, oh, they had to go from here to get to this to here. Like, I see that in My Hero, and I'm like, I'm absolutely here for that. Because that's the best part. Anybody can make a protagonist that grows and changes and evolves. That's easy. Same with if they're going to introduce a rival. Great. There's the same formula but inverted or something. Easy.
Yes.
Villains that get tougher, stronger, smarter, have plan B, C, D, whatever. That's easy. But to balance building a supporting cast, and especially a decent-sized ensemble at that,
yeah,
a whole roster of characters that you have to care about, to make that work, that's impressive.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But
absolutely.
So yeah, this was a good idea. I'm glad we decided to do this.
Oh yeah, and I think the second season is like 25 episodes, so we can break that probably and do like the first half.
I think that sounds good. We'll do that.
And then the second half, and we'll come back, maybe even smaller chunks, so we can really dive into some of the episodes.
Yeah.
But yeah, just wanted to get the teeth wet. Is that a saying?
Feet wet.
Feet wet.
Feet wet.
I said it and I was like, that doesn't sound right, but
not quite. Almost, but not quite.
Got vampires on the mind with the with the shadows. Gotta get the teeth wet.
I mean, in a way that metaphor works too.
Yeah. So wanted to dip our feet in, and I think this was a great choice to dip our feet in because it's kind of right up our alleys.
Yeah.
It's not too out there for us. And the second season's all out there. I think the third is subtitled. I don't know if it's out dubbed yet. And I agree, man. If I can have it dubbed, I will have it dubbed. And I know that's like terrible, but man, I don't want to read.
I'm the same way. I'm dubbed over subbed. I am.
Yes.
And I know that I know there is a giant civil war in the anime community over that, but
and I get it, but don't be a gatekeeper like that. That's not cool.
Right. It's one thing, and here's the thing. If you're like, it sounds better dubbed, or it sounds better in the original with the original voice actors. Sure, because that's how it's animated. They don't reanimate it for English.
Exactly.
And so I get that. I understand that, but by the same token, I don't speak Japanese. I'm not, and there is a disconnect for me reading subtitles when things don't match up. I'll watch movies with subtitles all the time because I can glance and see, if I'm doing something else and I've got this movie going, I'll glance over and see, yes, okay, I know where I'm at. You know? And I know that sounds weird to a lot of people, but that's just me. But it's something I can keep an eye on. So if something jumps out and maybe I didn't hear it, I can still see it. But I can't do, obviously it's necessary in English speaking movies where there's a part in a different language and they subtitle it in the movie, But I mean, to just watch something, it's like, I can't do the whole, I can't watch, I almost can't watch foreign films.
Well, to me, a film is an hour and a half to 2 hours of your time, where an anime, especially long ones, like, this one, thankfully, it's shorter seasons, so it's way easier to get through. Even when I did Attack on Titan, the season was long. And I remember after watching the first season, I'm like, I am waiting until it's dubbed for the second season. Thankfully, the technology has just advanced to this point, and the anime is so much bigger now than it was, like, for example, in the 90s, where it literally took years.
Oh, God, it took decades for some of them. It was
How many times did we restart Dragon Ball?
Yeah, right.
they're like, oh, well, suddenly you get to the part in this. That was the just
God,
infamous Frieza saga.
I'll never forget that on Toonami, man. Because you would tune in one day and it would be right back to the arrival of Raditz. And I was like, what in the... I saw this like 3 months ago. What the hell?
Yeah, and how many people did that lose? And it's like, oh my god. Well, I'm not. I'm checking out, and I'm gonna go do other things now. Yeah. But hey, I guess it worked out in the long run. But anyway, I'm glad that the technology is just advanced, and the culture of this has just gotten so much bigger that it's so much wider, and it's now worldwide, and it's not this thing that used to be so just a subgenre. It's now so massive.
Yeah.
That it don't be a gatekeeper. I totally understand why people like it original, especially because of it's just it's original and that's how you like it. That's perfectly fine. Enjoy it. And you know what? I want to watch season 3, and I don't even care if it's dubbed. I'm probably going to watch it subtitled because that's how much I'm enjoying it. And I know that's how most people get into the subs. They're like, you know what? I love this thing so much, I'm not waiting.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I'm going to feel this way about this. Even with Dragon Ball Z, I didn't want to watch the subtitled because I was like, I don't want to sit there and read it while I barely have enough time as it is to watch this, and I'm going to get I want to pay attention to what's going on the screen. So
yeah, that's why I'm so far behind with Super.
Yeah.
It's like I loved, because I'm still back at the first tournament where it was just 2 dimensions.
Yeah.
And I know the dub is past that. I know it is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's way past that now.
Yeah. But at that point, I was like, I love this, I really do. But like, I started to look ahead, and I was like, and here's where they're caught up to, and I was like, I'll just wait.
Yeah.
Like, I'll just let this go for a while, and then do a run at some point.
Yeah. And I'd like to own them all, man. I have the Dragon Ball Z on Blu-ray, but I would love to own Super, like that whole first thing, that whole chunk once it. And I think they're all the way up to like the last saga on it with the Blu-ray. So
nice.
That would be nice to have a little chunk of it. But until now, we got Funimation that does the app. I don't know. But anyway,
so yeah, next week we'll do the first. We'll start into the first part of season 2 and see how far we get.
Right. We might talk about just a couple episodes. We might do the first half of it, but I think we should to really dive into take some time on each episode. So that it's fresh in our heads. That's what I'm going to do. I think the day before we record, because I'm already into the second season, I'm going to go back and watch at least 5 to 6 episodes again to get it all in my head. Because it all runs together once you see the full first season.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I've got the day off when we record. I could do that.
Cool. Yeah, because I want to get it fresh so we can sit down and really just dissect each episode.
Yeah.
I think that'd be really cool. But I love this idea. I want to get in some more. I'm pumped.
Yeah, this was a good idea. And I'm actually kind of excited for when we finally decide, like, okay, well, let's pick something that maybe we don't really know anything about.
Right.
And like come to it. And I'm excited for like when we find something that I like that you're just lost on for some reason, and vice versa. And I'm really excited for the ones that we watch and we're both just like, what the shit? Like, what is this?
Oh yeah.
Like that's the one. Those are the ones I'm really excited for. But I love that we start with something that we can really dig into. Like that was definitely the right way to do this. It was totally the right call.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I think from here on out, it's not going to be a segment on the episodes, but it's going to be its own thing.
Yes.
I think that's the way to do it. This was the right way to do it. We've been doing this pretty good so far. I'm proud of us.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think we'll still keep it on the same feed, but just
it'll be its own
show.
Yeah, like it'll still be uploaded through We Geek Podcast, but until we'll work on that. Like it'll have its own title and everything, but for the time being, it'll still be the same branding and whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm excited. I'm gonna actually probably do that tonight. I'm probably gonna go watch some more, and then right before watch the first few episodes. Yeah, man, I'm excited. I think that's it. Any Anything else before we go?
Not just the social media stuff, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just make sure you go to We Geek Podcast on our Facebook group. Make sure you can send us an email, wegeekpodcast@gmail.com. Our Twitters are at We Geek Podcast, at the Logan Witt, at Adam Estep. You can download us now on Spotify. You can go to Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, you name it. We got a YouTube channel, We Geek Podcast. You can find us everywhere, pretty much. And yeah, well, next week we'll talk about more My Hero Academia. I will. I don't know. I want to go see a movie this week. It'll probably be Glass. So we can talk about that more. And I don't know. Maybe we'll play some Apex or something. Let's do something.
There you go.
I want to play a game. Not sure what though. Oh, and I'll probably be able to talk finally about Let's Go Pikachu.
Nice.
So I'm looking forward to that. Did you refresh my memory? Do you have Let's Go?
No, I don't.
And you're not getting it? Is that correct?
I don't plan on it. I'll put it that way.
Okay. Well, I'm going to get Pikachu. You should totally get Eevee if you do. I think it'd be fun if we battle each other. So who's the best in the world? But that's probably what I'm going to be diving into. And that's probably it. But
that's fair.
Yeah. But yeah, so we'll be back next week. Same time, same place. Captain.